hello there guys, welcome. Alright, whoa. Okay, let's move on with the case. We're actually moving along quite well. Not too bad actually. I mean, we are at the final. You see final? It's written final. Final case. And that says something, right? Outside the Baileys, where Londoners knew nothing of the secret trial within, it was a typical still night, and a little past 8 o'clock that evening, Mr. Sholmes and his partner returned to Baker Street. Okay. What do we have here? We have returned. Oh, these two people will save me. Time you hell, think nothing of it. I believe you had an even more wearing day than Mikotoba and I know. Would say that we were on the brink of defeat in court earlier. This prosecutor Asoge had you on the ropes, did he? And he's your best friend, you said? Well, he is. He's not really the man I knew in Japan anymore. Kazuma's changed! Is that so? Is that so? I feel like he's still helping you. I think that even entertained the idea of acting as a Reaper's assassin. Oh, I guess that part he did, right? Only ever met the young man as a corpse. Almost a year ago now, but it was not a corpse. What? Where does it say? Is there delay? Where it says final? When I did the save file, it says the final case. What do you mean final case? See? Final. It says final. See? Instead of episode 3 here, it says final. The result of Yunosuke Naruhodo on the save file. But I mean, it's the final case, but there's still so much to do, Josh. So, I don't know though, whether I would have enough time to finish this case today, since I have quite a bit of investigation to do here. But yeah, maybe like 2 stream. Well, 2 stream is definitely gonna be where I finish the entire, Ace Attorney, the Great Ace Attorney at any point. Like this game. I'm your friend Joshie. Telegraph office, what is it? What is that? Surely you have forgotten already. I put upon you for the matter only yesterday. I have to fill all your telegram to Japan and foot the bills. What was so urgent though? Yeah, what was it? Been good? You've been bad. Far too hungry for involved conversation. Well, that's good. Iris, supper today. Got the shelf for your sister too to hold the rest of your DVDs? For your sister? From. Okay. Tomorrow could be a very long day, so eat up. In that case, I think I'll seat myself just there. This place appears to be only one set with a helping of peasants as well. That place is for Susie's daddy. Oh my. Made it especially for you, Professor Miki. Mikotoba has been reduced to Miki. It's a shame, really. What's that? Well, for a brief moment I believed it. We're half-sister? No, now I overheard yesterday. The secret listening to go you had. Oh! Secret? Oh, mama. Autopsy report? Yeah. But actually, it turns out that neither Dr. Wilson nor Professor Mikado are Iris' father? Oh, okay. Who's Iris' father then? Then do games? I mean, that's why you never get a PS5. You got more DVDs? You got too much DVDs. Sell all the DVDs, you can get your PS5 immediately. Yeah, so who's Iris' father? This is by way of an apology. I'm sorry for eavesdropping. More stuff? Well, sell it! Yeah, who is Iris' father? Yoshi! Is that your daughter here? Something we'll be finding out today. Yoshi, do you remember giving birth to that girl? Oh god. You got kids? Take your responsibility, it's your girl. Pheasants? You're not getting any pheasants. I mean, that is a huge pheasant though. Aren't they supposed to be less big than this? This is even bigger than a freaking turkey. What the heck? That's a big one on the table. Are quite in the mood for a spell of conversation. No doubt, you're hungry to learn more from my deep love note. You need to look at me like that in that fashion. What fashion? Before we discuss the pheasants, we have some rather unpheasants. Okay, let's do this. The telegram from Japan, what is it? You're regular at this one, Timmy's. You've been going to the oh no, I get a some peppermint tea. You like Tim Hortons peppermint tea? I mean tea, really? Duplicate follows. Kazuma, Assassin, T. Gregson, and J. Wilson. J. Come across the exact same list before, yeah. What appears to be a simple case of gravity will turn out to be masking monumental intrigue, a plot that involves the sale of British governmental secret of the foreign state. In exposing the means by which those secrets were being leaked, we decipher a fragment of a message. We did. K. Asogi, Assassin. I mean T. Gregson, which is Inspector Gregson. John H. Wilson. Dr. Dada, they're all dead now. Except Kazuma, so only information has been sent by somebody in the British government to somebody in Japan. Why are the name coming up again now? Because they are all part of the Reaper. Enter Judge Jigoku office undetected investigate telegram. Expect find communication from Britain dated 1 year ago. List of 4 names. Meet by tomorrow. Naruhodo. Naruhodo. Send it to a detective I know who specializes in clandestine mission of this nation. After I need my name? Yeah, what? List of those found with Seishiro. This has shown predicted. That mysterious collection of names that was sent from Britain to Japan was sent to Judge Goku? Really? Hypothesis, but without a shred of evidence, Uncle Boss would have shared it. Really? Okay. How can you mistake someone from being knocked unconscious versus someone who's dead? It went up 10 cents a week ago though? Oh, the peppermint tea? Did it? I mean, I don't drink the Tim Hortons tea, so I don't know. I know that, you know, for the last 2-3 years, the iced cappuccino went up quite a bit. For sure. Everything goes up, yeah. This remains unique. Then I made sure that somebody else was sent to Britain in his head. The arrangement between our two countries was already in place. A university student lawyer and one judicial assistant to be accommodated on a study tour. In other words, by arranging for someone else to fill the place originally intended for Mr. Asogi, I would successfully prevent the men from arriving on our shore for several years at least. It was all in aid to stopping Kazuma coming to Britain? But why though? Was there not somebody who quite casually urged you to continue on the voyage to England? Osonoga? The light of Mr. Asugi's unfortunately dead, I'm afraid the study tour can no longer go ahead. So everything is a plot. Yo. I've been played! All you require is one lawyer and the study tour can continue. Oh shit. Oh shit, I've been played! And without even realizing that I've been played. Gross. Do you manipulate? Yeah, all the manipulation. How dare you? I've often remarked on the extraordinary lengths to which friendship will drive a man. So you were only betting on that though. Betting on someone that is not even remotely close to being a lawyer. To be a lawyer? How's that? I thought that it took, you know, years of practices and study before you can actually be a lawyer, but apparently back in the day it's much easier. Anyone who has a little bit of a talent in anything will become a lawyer. Seriously? It's easy like that, I guess? Wow. Okay. Cool stuff. I don't believe it. Me too. Will your DVD alphabetical order? Why not? It's a good way to find your DVD. So as a perpetrator, what do you suppose became? Naturally, I didn't allow the misapprehension to have any serious repercussion. Everything assisted, unfortunately, still in finding the foreign refuge she sought. You're too lazy? And then you'll never find the DVD you want. It's all over the place. It's a mess! Fix your mess! She was suddenly devout of all guilt. She deserved every word, I'm sure. So she made it to America. America! Finish it. Then we're gonna throw it all to the garbage because, you know, it was mistaken by, you know, being such a big mess has garbage. Throw it out! And make sure that Daddy would throw everything out. Let me go grab some chocolate. Nice, some chocolate. So rude, you rude. You make a mess, I'll throw your shit out. Your mess, fix it. Yeah, why did you go to such a lane? Why were you so determined to stop Kazuma from reaching Britain? Your favorite is Barbie, there's only one. There was already a very tangible omen of impending tragedy. Indeed. The omen that is of this very moment in time close at hand. Oh crap. Now what do you know, Sholmes? Speak up. All call? You lie. And not. There are a series of, the entire DVD set of Powerpuff Girl. Yes, good name. Well, thank you for that. I won't necessarily say I'm doing great work. I'm just playing some games. Okay, but here... Or so now. That's a tragedy. Where are we going with this? So what do I need to show Sean? Am I missing something? Eat the peasants? Roast beef, kipper, stew, steak, and kidney pie. Yorkshire pudding. We're not talking about the peasants though. Drowning one's sorrow after defeat? Oh shit. Why do you have to be like that? Look at that thing. That's so huge. Now that we can have a site, a little cell phone that can type everything, have it printed on. Still, it's big. Mad Max movie. Okay. Stuff. Oh, I don't know what of it. There's so many papers on the floor. The one he found being sold for assault at a bomb broker. Jody. The world famous Stradivarius. Yeah, those things. Stragivore. Stradivarius. If you can get yourself on the Stradivarius, though, you would be a rich man. Would. It's worth like millions for that stupid violin. Hello, Lance. How you doing? You like the fireplace? It's one of the best things I've seen since we arrived in the country. Although I do yearn for a Japanese capacity. Putting your legs on a warm blanketed table. So they are even explaining what's kotatsu. About to sleep? I'm doing fine. A little bit tired. You know, if you've been on my stream lately, you know that my back has been acting up. So I'm moving a little bit from left to right during my sleep and whatnot. It's fine, I suppose. See a chiropractor? I'm already seeing one. I mean, chiropractor cannot fix it. Maybe take some Advil, of course. Take more than just Advil. What we It's not this thing I need to show. Assemble on the main deck, attended in order to review a as soon as the drill is over. Hello, DL. What do we? What am I showing? What we're doing? Doing good. Tired, but good. I mean, it's my long weekend. Long weekend usually means, you know, a lot of people will get longer weekends. Like days off, but long weekends for me, when I say it, means that I'll be working this weekend. So it's long for me. Oh, no. Thanks, name, mysterious is a boss. Want someone 30 to watch the old school Pokemon anime? Listen, Joshi's favorite anime it's Powerpuff Girl. He has the entire DVD series sitting on his shelf. so that's fine. Working during the weekend, gross, I know. I don't know what I need to present. You only judge Joshi if it's new one? What about the new one? Paw Patrol? Or Little Pony? When did Pokemon ever came out? I don't remember. Was it in the 90s? Pokemon. I remember when it first came out, it was like a worldwide sensation. $1997. So I mean, I was already, adult. You were forced to watch Land Before Time series with your little brother. You don't like Land Before Time? It's good. There's the list of names will be found. T-Rex, J. Wilson. So are they all from? But then why did Assassin kill Wilson? Oh really? Oh no, Dio does not like Land Before. Were wired to Japan around 6 months before that, approximately this time last year, in fact, when you were both still in Japan. Hypocrisy on my part to reprove order for intercepting state secrets, because after all, I'm perpetually eavesdropping on communication between British and Japanese government. Why? No secret is safe from Hurtlock Show. Why are you doing that when he has design on knowing it? Oh. I'm buying TikTok in a minute. You mean while in the state, right? You're talking about the Biden might have signed something or something. Blue clues with him. One month after the latest film was to spin Chikogu in Japan, Dr. John H. Wilson was murdered. As soon as I learned of the incident, the hypothesis rapidly took shape in my mind. As it turns out, I was partly correct, partly mistaken. Nevertheless, it was the beginning of all the tragic events that were to follow. Parent approval or something. I think it's more... Talking about the TikTok thing, it's more like, you know, it's an app that... More like a spyware or something. That they can, you know, watch whatever your preferences and send it to some foreign country in China, basically. But the phoneme and the tragic to which they are all somehow connected. Yeah, yeah. At the TikTok? I mean, I'm too old for that shit. I guess not, but you know, I just don't have the creativity to do those kind of things. I'm a very boring person, you know. So most of the TikTok video, they are like quirky, they are gimmicky and whatnot, or sometimes, you know, quick recipes and all those kind of things. And I lack the I lack not the will, but more like, you know, the knowledge of doing that. High school girls. Is that why you went to TikTok? Because you wanted girls? Asian as it was transcribed in Japanese script was in fact Miss Asashin. That was a familiar to me. She was a professor and well known among London's unsavory classes. On TikTok? Yo, I don't even play TikTok. I don't even play Fortnite. You're not a predator? No one says you're a predator, you just wanted to watch some girls, it's very normal. But she had vanished from existence several months before Wilson's murder. Well, I came to the logical conclusion that she had herself been killed, and accordingly I became fearful for the life of the remaining two parts of the list. But it would be the safest if young Asogi were to stay away from grid. For years, I recounted many tales about Asogi to him in my letters and news of Dr. Wilson's death, of course. I'm not talking. Dr. Wilson is dead then. He is. Iris, I know he wasn't my daddy, but still. That's very sad. Got killed. Well, man, I've been living in real world. What is a real world for you? You're living in the Matrix. Schoolwork is hard. Go grab your diploma, Joshi. Else I'm gonna whoop your ass. Robbie's playing Animal Crossing. The hell, Robbie? Gross. Big hole? You mean about Asashin, I presume. She wasn't killed, was she? She was in Japan posing as a visiting student under the assumed name of Giselle Brett. 2 days ago in the foyer of Grey Waterloo Hotel. In '04? Those are under those 4 names. Completely termed Topsy. Topsy hypothesis. Now what does that mean? I believe all 4 names on the list to be the name of victims, however, I was mistaken. Assassin was a killer. The list of both victim and killer, isn't it? It would seem that Miss Assassin was dispatched from Britain with the sole intention of dispatching Dr. Wilson. But visiting student status being merely up front. So the real reason Dr. Wilson was killed by Assassin is because he was a target of an assassination. Just not with a diploma. It's in a very different perspective, Well, does it not strike you there is another among the 4 who subsequently become a visiting student, which is a Sogi? He did say in court earlier today that he wanted to kill Gregson. That would mean that if I am going for the list, he would be the killer, the murderer, versus Gregson being the victim, right? If it goes with that kind of pair. Wow. This document is a contract of a sort, an international agreement, and one might say, detailing an assassin exchange. Oh. Let's assume that we have 2 parties, each wishing to dispose of a distinct individual. Those 2 parties then make a contract to swap their respective assassination targets. That would then be an assassin exchange. So to begin with, the British assassin is dispatched as a visiting student to Japan where she kills her target, and then the Japanese assassin is dispatched as a visiting student to Britain in order to eliminate his target? Yo, listen. Wow. I mean, now it makes me wonder whether such well probably would happen. Does it happen in the real world? Like, ooh, I have a pain in the ass in my country, but I don't want any of my countrymen to kill. So please bring me someone a murderer from your side, and in exchange, we're gonna kill someone that it's a pain in your for you. Does that work? Is that how it works? It certainly sounds like an exchange. I mean, if you put it that way, of course it sounds like an exchange, but something went awry though. Is some wonders? Doing a seed run? Wonder seeds? Or seed run as in, randomizer? What on earth is the point? What is on the point? That's what I'm saying. You can always go. Don't forget, Naruhodo, that the British assassin at least escaped conviction, but she got killed though. Diplomatic immunity afforded by consular jurisdiction. Such jurisdiction would be null and void under the term of the new treaty between our 2 countries. So the fact that it was brought into place and just intervention at the very highest level. Wonder seeds. So you wanted to do complete everything, right? Including the hardest level, that one level that is a pain in the butt for everyone. You barely been eating lately? Well, then go eat something. Well, at least every single time you're on my stream, you're eating something. Somehow I'm giving you appetite. Yeah, purely unrelated, yet in truth, Assassin was complicit in one singular devilish scheme. That disassociation and the safeguard of diplomatic immunity were, I believe, the motivation behind this plot. Shopping left your sour cream. I stream at your dinner time, so then you are eating every single time, but you said that you're not been eating lately. If this telegram really is describing the exchange of assassins as you are suggesting, it would mean that the Japanese kill target was never Seishiro Jikoku at all. It would mean that Sogi's target was actually Inspector Gregson, right? Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Kazuma's here for Gregson. But he's not exactly... If I am going by the logic of that list was sent to Judge Jikoku. So what is his... place in all this plot? Like one dinner a day, that's all. Not healthy to skip meals. I mean, it's not also healthy to... there is like new proponents about, ideology about diets and whatnot. Some people said, you need to eat 3 meals a day. And nowadays there are other, another school of trained thoughts, whatever you want to call it. That says that not 2 meals is what you really want. Not 3. I mean, let's think about it for a second. Like, who decided that 3 meals is the ideal goals to have, though? I mean, the scientists actually calculated, the number of calories you need for a day. In theory, if you reach that, calorie goal, you need to eat extra, is what I'm saying? Even if you only ate 1 meal? I don't know how it works. These are like some questions that, need to be asked. I mean, I've certainly seen people who, only do 2 meals. They are definitely much healthier than the people who are, doing 3 meals. But then that's, the wonder of health science is that, each individual it's different, so you cannot compare it that way at the same time. So yeah, who knows who's at 3 a day? Some meal I had before can be like no, wow. You ever regretted, made yourself sick? Yeah, well, it really depends on the individual, like I said. I mean, I have never, well, that's not true. I probably have eaten like 3 meals a day, but my system never worked for the breakfast. So when I ate my breakfast, I remember having cramps and all those kind of things. So instead, since I have not eaten any breakfast, there are a lot of people who, first of all, they are not like morning bird, but second of all, they just don't like to eat even if they are a morning bird. Like they don't eat their meal during the breakfast time, and they function fine. I feel like I am those type of people. Like I will wake up, I don't like to eat things. I might definitely drink a coffee per se, and then once I go, I have dinner, supper, and that's it. But that's me. I'm not saying that it is the best way to do that. Absolutely not. I mean, for my body, I feel like skipping breakfast is the best for me. It's not like I hated it. It's a lot more like I get cramps and I don't feel good the rest of the day. Whereas a lot of people saying that the breakfast is the most important meal of the day in order to get the system boosting and stuff. I just can't. Physically, I can't. Let's conclude a preparation. I think I shall make my way back to home. Once it's been like 2 or 3 years after I woke up and stuff. I'm fine. Maybe, you know, even though my body, well, I'm awake, my body, my like digestive system is not, you know, awake. So if I force my digestive system, it's gonna protest. And I have like severe stomachache afterwards. Oh hell. Yeah, I try everything. I try, you know, eating cereals. I try, you know, nothing during the breakfast. I just cannot function for the rest of, you know, a couple of hours still after eating breakfast. Was I might have totally fine not. So you teach me all the way you know to throw Runo onto the floor. Don't teach her, Susato. Don't throw me on the floor. Throw Joshi. Throw Joshi. I mean, I like bananas, oatmeal. It's bland, but I'll eat it. I mean, I'm not really difficult. I like to eat. Must always be mindful. Feelings are racial so well. It's shown so that bring have to fight between meals. But I'm very, very. At least I try to be on time. Like 5 p.m., 6 p.m. And then usually after stream I eat. So like it is like a 12 hours. Now that I think about it, well, it was not totally intentional. I'm more fixating on the time itself more than the time between meals. Now that I think about it, it's roughly 12 hours in between. So, cause I finish my stream usually at 5, so before I go to sleep, I like to, you know, not go empty stomach. I just cannot sleep. So that's more the reason why I eat, you know, right after showering and eat a little bit of stuff. So I would consider that my second meal. It's quite complete, so it's definitely a meal. It's not like I'm saying like a little bit of stuff, but it's definitely the meal itself. So yeah, 5, 6, so roughly 10, 12 hours in between. It's like, you know, it needs food. Yeah, my stomach doesn't say much. I'm not, you know. I honestly don't even remember. You know, wow, it's been, you know, more than a very, very long time that I truly felt. Because I'm so on time, I guess. So it's more like my brain dictates me when to eat. I guess I train myself that way. Does that even make sense? Like, you know, oh, it's 5 a.m. It's my time. Let's go. But it's not though. You need, you know, you need to eat in order to. Depending on what, if you have like an injury or trauma and stuff, your body do need food as a building block to get better. Force fed, I don't know why you were force fed. Probably they like you should eat, unless you are on IV. That's something else. And then make sure afterward that tray had no food on it. Well, what was your problem? That's the thing. I mean, there are definitely medical conditions that, you know, have to put you to sleep. Well, one can say, you know, anorexia, and then also, you know, other stuff like, you know, you need to eat something. Like being diabetic, if your blood sugar is low, even though they can give you sugar, you also have to eat some of the, you know, long sugars, what they call it, so breads and those kind of things. If not, you're gonna die, so they're trying to save you. So there are different, you know, example of medical condition in which, you know, you definitely should eat, even though if you don't want to eat, you still want to eat. Even for like, you know, fevers and stuff, you just don't want to eat. But at the same time, like, you you have to. I mean, even vomiting, you think, having diarrhea, gastros, and all those kind of things. You want to drink a lot of waters, even though you're throwing up, but you are getting all the liquids out, so you might be dangerous. If you don't drink water, all those kind of things. So there are different medical conditions. I would say, yeah, well, definitely eat even if you don't want to eat. But I was not talking about those kind of contexts either, right? Well, we go now trial. They also give you Ensure drinks. So you were skipping meals. There's a reason why they're giving you Ensure drinks, because you were not eating at all. I mean, Ensure, it's a meal replacement. For those of you, who don't know what it is, it's basically a liquid thing given, usually, generally speaking, for the people who have problems eating, like bitings and jaw problems and whatnot, or they just don't have difficulty swallowing. Basically, it's usually where they give you that, and there's a lot of people who does use Ensure, but they are meal replacement, but they are not ideal. If you can actually eat, then definitely eat instead of doing Ensure. But there's a lot of people who do like Ensure. Before we begin today, I have a brief announcement. Josh is guilty! As we close trial 10 years ago, some astonishing facts have come to light in this proceeding. The revelation that a well-known Reaper is actually an organization illegally executing its own brand of justice, and the discovery that a respected yard inspector was at the heart its heart until he himself perished in an assassination plot. Being fed through a tube is worse. I mean, I don't... Do they still do that though? I don't think they do that often anymore. So may inquire, yeah. What ground is Kazumasuke permitted to continue in his role as prosecutor? Yeah. He is admitted to colluding with the victim in the plot of assassinate an innocent man. He shouldn't be enjoying the privilege of freedom, let alone be leading the prosecution. I submitted a written petition to Longstraw, requesting the judgment of my transgression be delayed by 1 day. In today's proceeding, I intend to expose everything. My whole life for the last 10 years has all been leading up to this one. Yo, that man's is coming in with a mission. I give my word that will accept whatever punishment is deemed appropriate, however severe. I suggest you prepare yourself for the same, Reaper. Now, here's the thing though, Reaper? Is he pointing as Van Zeke, or Reaper has someone else? That is a man with a resolve. And also it's so weird, like, Kazuma actually said that he was an assassin, he's a murderer. But he still enjoy the position of, judging someone else. That is the weird. Defense find this acceptable? It's unacceptable, honestly. If I was in, Yunosuke's place, I would say no. But at the same time, why? Why is he doing all that would be my question. It would be quite a conundrum, honestly. On the one hand, well, at least you might think that man that you're facing in front of you, being your old friend of long years, and then at the same time, you know that he's doing some shady stuff. Like, would I say yes? Let's continue, I don't care? Or no? Like, I know he's yeah, but that's a lot of trusting, right? So you need to really trust him, even though he's like, doing some shady stuff. Like, at the end of the day, he's doing something forward, maybe good, but helping at least. I don't know. This preamble has taken long enough, prosecutor Asogi begins! Also, why do you have like a unicorn scepter? Calls for the first witness to the stand. Say Shiro Jigoku into the court. Final battle. Okay, let's do it then. Bring it on, brah. Brah! So it was you who issued this. The subpoena? I did what was necessary. Look what the young man has become. I didn't think I'll see the day when you take that tone with me, I must say. Wow. The witness will ensure his response are pertinent to the question asked. My name is Seishiro Jikoku, a Supreme Court judge from the Empire of Japan. Yo, imagine when you are... I mean, I guess it's not that bad if you're only like a witness and stuff under another judge, but then he's not even a judge, like he's the Lord Chief of Justice. Is he really a judge? There's something shady about the Lord Chief. I'm pretty sure he's the mastermind behind it. But that would be quite a special feeling, like if you are a judge, then you are actually not standing where the judge should be, but at the witness stand, or even defendant stand. That's even worse. 16 years ago, this man came to London as a visiting student. 6 years later, he returned to Japan, as well as presiding over the Supreme Court. He is also currently Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs. Ace of FF Rebirth? Oh, definitely. Without a shadow of doubt, FF Rebirth. I mean, FF7, the remake, the rebirth, and then whatever that's gonna be redo or something. Has a third installment. That is something. Like I said though, I mean, as much as I do enjoy Ace, don't get me wrong, Ace, but Final Fantasy VII will always have a special place in my heart. Being the original or the remake version of it. I mean, they did an excellent job, like I said. I cannot say it's not without flaws. Absolutely, that's true. But certainly, it does, have a very, very special place in my heart. So yes, I do enjoy FF Rebirth more than Ace. I mean, Ace Attorney is like one of those things, one of those games that, I know a lot of people don't necessarily enjoy these type of games with a lot of readings and whatnot. But I certainly felt like it's different, Not all games need to be, action-packed and whatnot. Ace Attorney is one of those things that, it's quirky, it's a fun read, that's it. Like, it's definitely a good ride along the way, but FF Rebirth is definitely like for me personally, because at the end of the day, I felt like my favorite genre is definitely towards the RPG department. So Ace Attorney is not exactly, I would say, an RPG. It's more like a point and click adventure. I must ask. Well, I never fancied a young murdering student turning up here of all places. Murdering? You're quitting me yourself! practice as a defense lawyer. Yes, and full of self-importance like your friend across the court. You came here to London by invitation to the International Forensic Science Symposium, but then, without informing anyone of your plan, you took flight to France. I'll have to object to that turn of phrase. And explain yourself, what exactly were the circumstances? Well, I was somewhat expecting this, and I'm sorry to say, I won't say it. I decline to comment. What? Why? Why? Leaving the country prematurely when I was invited to guests may be questionable etiquette, but my decision is unrelated to this case. I can't be bound to testify. Unless you can prove in the link. He's gonna play it hard. I appreciate that the respected police inspector has been killed. I appreciate. That's a weird turn of sentence though. I appreciate that a respected police inspector. Appreciate as, you know, evaluate, understand, or appreciate as like I like that I respect, for which I offer my condolences. However, being an alien, I obviously never met the man, nor do I know the first thing about him. As such, I'm in no position to testify. It's as simple as that, so you will run from all this. I beg your pardon? This case is more far-reaching than the murder of Inspector Gregson. It has tied to another murder, a case that was tried in Japan almost a year ago now. The murder of Dr. John H. Wilson. That's right, and you, Judge Jigoku, are at the heart of both cases. The defense has evidence to prove it. Well, Ryunosuke, I see from the look in your eyes that you're resolved to carry this through to the very end. Well, at this point, you know, for like the last year, I think that Ryunosuke has been, or even before that, before he came to Great Britain, he's been manipulated into all sorts of plots. If I was in this place, like, you know, enough is enough. Let's go through with it. And you wanna play me? Let's do this. You know what I mean? Like, no. I mean, definitely the telegram, it has been, you know, to the Judge Goku's office. This is the telegram detailing a communication sense between Britain and Japan. Approximately 1 year ago, the communication contained 4 names: K. Asogi, Asa Shin, T. Gregson, and J. Wilson. You little... Where did you get that? In Tokyo. From your office, Judge Jigoku. What? How on earth did you? Why is my name on that list? This list of 4 names follows certain patterns. T. Gregson and J. Wilson are the name of victim. K. Asogi and Asashin are the name of assassin. No! A year ago in Tokyo, Dr. John H. Wilson's life was taken in Western-style restaurant in the capital. Yes, we did that case as well. And then the culprit was found to be a visiting student who went by the name of Giselle Bread. Her real name was Asa Shin, a professional killer sent on a mission to kill from Great Britain. Yes, that was Ali. In fact, her real name is Ali. Asa Shin, Ali Shin, and her victim J. Wilson. And the murder that just took place here in London was the counterpart to that crime. An assassin sent from Japan also visiting. Ooh, we are trying on, you know, really thin water here. That's based on the hypothesis of Sherlock Holmes. Kazuma Asogi, whose victim was the British officer, police officer Tobias Gregson. K. Asogi and T. Gregson. One assassin from each country to kill a target residing in the others. What exactly is this suggesting? These 2 cases of murder, one that took place in Britain and one in Japan, were masterminded by a pair of individuals from each country as a form of assassin exchange. Well, we are really throwing it out there. The telegram the defense has acquired is proof. Yeah, you are saying a pair from both countries though. So if the counterpart, it's the judge himself, That would also mean that the one presiding right now in the courtroom is highly um, possible that it's linked to the case as well, since they are both counterparts to each other's. What? Telegram was found in your office, Judge Goku. In other words, the mastermind in Japan was you. Judge Goku? I mean, I guess it's like a bluffing tactic right now. It's like, let's just throw in everything out there to get sensational, reaction. And then after that, we're gonna, try to find a truth. Just so that the court proceeding would continue. Is that what we're going here? During yesterday's proceeding, you acknowledged that you accepted the assassination mission, but the mark wasn't Judge Goku at all. It was Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector of Scotland Yard, as shown by the name on the killing contract. Very impressive, Yonosuke. But actually, I didn't lie. Never passed my lips yesterday. The idea that Seishiro Jigoku was the mark came entirely from you. You deliberately avoided saying a name? Nani? The defense claimed these 4 names indicate some sort of international assassin exchange. I'm sure I speak for all present when I say that the very idea seemed utterly absurd. Well, Mr. Jigoku, what do you have to say for yourself? His silence only goes to prove his guilt. There's another very important point that this new development brings to light. There's now a distinct possibility that the scene of Inspector Gregson's actual murder was in the witness cabin aboard the SS Grouse. Judge Jigoku, you have to testify now. To refuse will put you in contempt of court. Yo, we are not even letting the judge. There's no need for quite a vicious stare, young man. Very well then. As a parting gift to you all, I'll tell you everything I know. Wow, okay. I have a feeling Judge Jigoku has been thrown out into deep water just so that we can proceed. But he doesn't, according to my gut feelings here. But then Ace Attorney always have a way twisting some of the other stuff. But my gut feeling says that he is actually a good man, so he did not do all these sorts of things. Maybe he did, I don't know. But my gut feeling says no. About the alleged assassin exchange in the event of the night of the 1st of October, present your formal testimony now. Let's go. It's true that Kazuma was assigned to the assassination mission 1 year ago now. The target was Inspector Tobias Gregson. That was a condition of the British study tour. However, in the end something happened that meant the young man was unable to carry out his mission. On the evening in question, a member of the crew was on the duty outside my cabin at all times. If there had been a shot fired, the crewman would have heard it, so clearly I can't be involved. Oh. Wow, so he didn't know about it. Evil! I mean, how can a judge do these kind of things? Oh, I mean, he's not only a judge, but also a minister of foreign affairs. A political endeavors at the highest level, not something I can discuss here. Use such a worthy practice as foreign study to coerce somebody to commit murder. It's the most appalling things I've ever heard. Well, it's easy to judge. Pardon me? Asogi had a reason for taking a sword to that British inspector, which is why he accepted the mission in the first place. Isn't that right, Console? Kazuma? So wow, we actually are going. I'm not obliged to divulge that information. As I said yesterday, I've killed nobody. I freely admit that I accepted the mission, but on the night the plan was to be executed, I backed out. In short, this assassin exchange that the defense has identified is unrelated to the event of this case. The crucial part is this: your police inspector can have perished aboard that steamship in Dunkirk. Because he's been shot in the cabin, it's inconceivable that a member of the crew wouldn't have heard it. I mean, but there was a drill though. Gregson was killed after returning to London in the room on Fresno Street. So, and the perpetrator of the crime was the Reaper, Barak Van Zeke. The prosecution accusation remained unchanged. So they are really forcing a dead end though. I think that a seemingly innocent foreign exchange program was a facade for such a Machiavellian dealing. Clearly, this is what only a government minister and a high-ranking judge, such as a witness, could have hoped. You are lordship adjusted too. Simon recalled that it was someone on the British side who controlled everything. Be that as it may, it is not the place for this court to pursue the villainous assassin exchange plot. We are concerned only by the tangible event pertaining to the murder of Inspector Gregson. Is the defense clear on that point, counsel? But we have to go that way. I'm pretty sure I can just... But I want to see his response though. Press it. I'll just press it for the sake of pressing it. But I already know what the lie is. It's about, you know, someone is always in the door and never quit it. Because there was a drill exercise that night. About 20 minutes. More than enough to kill someone. It was the examination center for applicants for the study tour that I approached him. I'll never forget it. I remember exactly what you said. You just came out and asked me forthright if I considered traveling to Britain on an assassination mission. Whoa, what? Directly like that? I thought it was a joke at first, of course, but then it was made clear to me that I didn't accept it. I wouldn't be considered for the study tour. So in order for him to go to Britain, he has to accept the assassination plot. And his mission is to basically come and, you know, prove that his dad was innocent on the case 10 years ago? Is that what I'm getting at? I mean, I know how much you wanted to study in England, but assassination? It's not because of study, he doesn't care about study. The Empire of Japan had accepted a proposal from the British Empire at the time, an agreement to send a student from each country to the others to deepen cultural understanding and friendship. But behind the scenes, the chosen student were to be given assassination missions. I had no choice but to accept the proposal that originated from my British counterpart. Why didn't you expose the plot there and then? Yeah, why? Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. He's like, forced course into something. British acknowledge no part in this alleged misbegotten feelings. I advise you not to make spurious allegation for Minister Jigoku. As a witness, I'm bound to tell the truth, my lord. Anyway, I pick Asogi and explain the details of the plan to him. Yeah, you know what the lordship is like? No, don't go anywhere near the British. Don't do it! Hold it! So why Kazuma? Why did you pick him as an assassin? He was the most capable of all applicants. In addition, I knew his desire to travel to Britain was very strong. In fact, it was almost more than a desire, it was his whole purpose in life. I can certainly attest to that. The way he threw himself into his study, the way he pursued becoming qualified as a lawyer. He wanted to become qualified as a lawyer because he wanted to, you know, sort of like defend his dad from being falsely accused of murdering British aristocracy 10 years ago, right? That's why it's weird that he became a prosecutor. What did you eat? It was ultimately for the one single goal of being accepted as to the tour, and of course we know the reason behind that. He was determined to find out for himself the truth about his father, right? Genshin Asogi, that's what I say. There's nothing I wouldn't have done to get here, be that agreeing to assume the role of an assassin or betraying people's trust. Alright, Tuna Castle. You certainly did a fine job of betraying mine, Asogi. But why was Inspector Gregson target? I have no idea. Those were the orders from Sweden. I was in no position to question. I mean, he was shady. You have no idea, really? I find that hard to believe. Oh, do you? Judge Goku was once a visiting student here in Britain himself, of course, but had some connection with Inspector Gregson at that time. The defense really ought to catch up. The fact that the assassin exchange has absolutely nothing to do with the case under scrutiny here. Yes, I've already admitted to recording Asogi. However, yeah, something happened that meant the young man was unable to carry out his wishes. I presume you are referring to the incident that occurred during Kazuma passage to Britain in January. The awful tragedy that took place on the steamship. Word arrived at the ministry some 2 weeks after the ship departed from offshore. The visiting student had been killed, but his body had somehow gone missing in Hong Kong. The news was wired to me from a particular place on the ship to accompany the assassin. Kazuma didn't actually die at all, but he did lose his memory, including all details about his special mission. Did he though? -2 sea out, and it's also May. Wow, it's kinda slow in place. It's kinda slow. And it's gonna be cold for like the next few days too, which is weird. This year's a little bit weird on the temperature side. I just don't know why. Joshi, what did you do with nature? You made it all screwed up now. It's your fault, Joshi. That wasn't possible, simply because the black-clad young student over there had already put himself forward as a Asogi replacement. Haha! Give me a second. I need to put some drink into the fridge. Change the climate. Yeah, you did. You farted too much, and now everything has changed. Gross, Joshi, gross. Well, you made it cold now. It's your fault. You're glad that it's cold? Then stay in the cold. My hands were completely tied, so Mr. Shum tried to work perfectly. My memory returns, but I never intended to go through with the assassination mission. So you're playing me right from the outset, were you? Is that it? I shouldn't be guilty of that crime, then of taking someone else's life. I was prepared to do whatever I had to do in order to get myself here to Britain. The line of questioning has gone on long enough. Well, all the court should be concerned about in the testimony given by this witness are details relating to his relationship with Inspector Gregson and the victim's murder. In that case, as I've already made perfectly clear, I had no connection to the man or his death. And you have some means of substantiating this plea? Member of the crew on... Yeah, but that was not it. I'm pretty sure that was not it. Let's see. Evacuation notice. Following the departure, all crew members are required to assemble on the main deck at 10 PM in order to review evacuation, but it would take 20 minutes, so there was no way that they for the entire night. They were at all time outside your cabin. He lies. He lies. He's a liar. When he lies like that, I'll find the lies in you. I just so happens to be trained for that. Finding lines. Even in real life, I do that.
Objection!
There was a rumor posted outside Jigoku, however, we can be sure that contrary to the witness claim, their god wasn't there at all time. Nope. It's evidence gathered by Mr. Herlock Sholmes. See? You lie! You lie like a Joshi lies! Herlock Sholmes again. According to this itinerary, after leaving the port of Dunkirk at exactly 10 PM and for a period of 20 minutes, all crewmen of the SS Grouse were to gather on deck for an evacuation drill. Away from the post? Yes, and during that 20 minutes interval, of course, any gunshot emanating from your cabins would have been heard by no one. You don't lie, you never. You lie, Joshi, you lie! You're guilty for ransacking Ali's wardrobe and stole some stuff from her. You got an ample opportunity to commit a crime. Eee!
Objection!
Grayson? You rude! I mean, no, that's an excellent fun, it's okay, but it amounts to nothing. Why is that? Clearly stated in his testimony that no incident occurred in his cabin. Unless you have some decisive evidence that the testimony to be false, your accusation is nothing more than conjecture. Oh wow, okay. You escape? Nay, you cannot escape the prison. You can run as fast as you can, but you're not going very far. Wow. This is a crown. I have a feeling I have seen a monarch somewhere here. I mean, if I need to show it, this is the thing that I need to show, right? Do I have a pocket watch? Yeah, that's eager. Your superpower? I mean, even Magneto get locked. So. That's missing crown inspector. So I can do that.
Take that!
This was found in your cabin yesterday. What's that? The crown of a pocket watch? And if you will observe, the victim's pocket watch, which we know he treasured, is missing precisely that part. Thanos never lost though? He beats everyone? He did. He got snapped by Iron Man. He did lose. He got snapped out of existence too. gun is a perfect fit on the spindle protruding from the victim's watch. Now, the fact that this was retrieved from Judge Goku's cabin tells us that the victim's watch was certainly broke there. That's how powerful you are? I'm saying that Thanos lost by the same power that he used on people. The victim was killed on the 31st during the 20 minutes evacuation drill in the cabin occupied by you, Judge Goku, you murderer. That's what MCU's saying. He got snapped. Iron Man took, you know, the Infinity Stone and like, baff! Half of it, all his army is like, boom, done, bye. You only watch Infinity War?
Objection.
Expertly maneuver Ryunosuke. Your argument sounds entirely plausible at first. What do you mean at first? But rather like this pocket watch, it's full of cracks. What's that? And I believe Judge Goku feels the same way. I was wrong to acquit you earlier in the year. But I know that it would result in anyone having to listen to the dribble. I would have declared you guilty just to spare the world of your ridiculous bombast. I think it's clear that the witness will have to give further testimony. But when you hear what actually happened in my cabin that night, you notice the point which you stumbled. That is. Prior to your renewed testimony, I would like to clarify one thing. The fact that this part of the victim's watch was discovered in your cabin means that you acknowledge that he was there, I presume. Okay, sure I do. Very well then, you may proceed to give your formal testimony about what exactly happened in your cabin aboard the ship on the evening of 31st of October. Okay, good. As a man of law, I have no intention of obstructing justice, yet you went on killing. You know, recruiting assassins. Well, what is that if not obstructing justice? Get out. Get out of here. I had a guest waiting for me when I returned to my cabin after finishing my evening meal in the dining room. When I walked through the door, a mustachio, the Englishman, was there foolishly waving a gun at me. Soon I took care of him with an ippon seal throw. Though he couldn't wait to run after that. I imagine his watch was broken when I threw him over my shoulder. It has nothing to do with this murder. And then the inspector was clearly killed, having returned to Britain because his body was found in London. Yeah, well, the biggest rival here that I'm having trouble with is that how his body, if he was killed back in France at the port of Dunkirk, all the way back to London. A common jujutsu martial art technique in your country, jujutsu. I was careful not to use too much force, but the man obviously landed too heavily for his watch to take. You know what proves the victim's murder took place there? Oh. The inspector intended to kill me, but he didn't manage to pull the trigger. Merely the tactician, not the Reaper's hand of death. The testimony appears to make perfect sense as far as I can tell. Well, let me cross-examine. Let me express my deep gratitude for your understanding. Professional places in England? Please don't act weird. Professional places? As what? Doctor's office? I see no reason for wasting precious time for here. I exercise my right to cross-examine the witness. The defense has a right to cross-examine, and I don't intend to squander that. You're an embarrassment to your countrymen, not knowing when you're beaten. Never give up, trust your instinct. Your dad worked Christmas party last year. He's like, please don't say anything weird. I had a guest waiting for me when I returned to my cabin after finishing.
Hold it!
That guess is? Because the so-called guard posted that your cabin door had just let your killer pass you in? Apparently Gregson told the groomman he was a police inspector, which was the truth, of course. He wouldn't have had his identification with him. His drench-chosen mustache, not to mention the bag of chips. I mean, the engine crewman was convinced. But the man accompanying him would have had 2 swords slung around his waist. Mimi? Who else? Yes, that's true. You would have hoped the sight of a few swords might have set off alarm bells in the guard's head. The point is, I left the cabin before his occupant returned and immediately disembarked the ship. All I can tell you is that the inspector was waiting for me when I arrived back at my cabin. So you enter without any inkling of suspicion. That's right, none whatsoever, okay? So, when I walked through the door, a mustachioed Englishman was there foolishly waving a gun at me. Okay? Obviously, you're talking about Inspector Gregson. Though at the time I didn't know the man's name. They're awful if they don't believe there's an ocean near Toronto. You're the weird one. There's no ocean! Was there to assassinate you, you suppose? That was certainly the impression given by the gun pointing in my direction. I've never seen the muzzle of a revolver shake about so much in all my life shake. Anyone think the man had never shot somebody before? It's true, he's not! Believe it or not, most of us haven't. Anyway, there was no time to call for the help of the crewman at the door, so I dealt with the man myself. The judge is feisty, but look at his posture and whatnot. He's a capable man, I suppose. I soon took care of him with an Ippon Seo throw. Whatever you wanna say that Ippon? Ippon Seo! Seo! Seoi? He couldn't wait to run away after. Okay. So even though the man had a gun, that was very brave, wasn't it? Well, faster than a bullet. Wow, faster than a bullet. But surely all that commotion caused the groomman to come in, didn't it? Of course, he burst in immediately with a knocking. The inspector hurled himself on the stocky towel and just managed to slip past him to make his escape. The outstanding guard does it again! Luckily, there are many situations I get out of using a quick throw. I imagine his watch was located when I threw him over my shoulder. It has nothing to do with his murder. Okay. The crown snapped off and the glass covering the face of the watch was cracked. Preferably to the man's head being pulled off or his spine cracking? Wouldn't you say, yo? It's brutal. Not that the man was spared for long, a bullet to the chest soon saw to that. But the point is, the broken pocket watch doesn't prove that a murder took place. Absolutely not, all the watch's proof is the power of my jujutsu. Whatever you say, it doesn't quite ring true to that no shot was fired in the cabin. Because there was an obvious bullet hole in the wall. What are you talking about? That's what the star of your lowbrow detective story told you. He said, well, I don't care for such a fiction. Whoa, we're gonna deny it. Haven't you worked it out yet, you little stripling? No murder took place in my cabin. Really? The inspector was clearly still having returned to Britain because his body was found in London. How do you know about that? Never returned to London, have I? Just take a moment to think that the idea of yours true now, stripling. If the inspector was killed on the steamship in France, how on earth could he have got back to Britain? When people die, their body remains at the same spot. It's a devil's of a thing. Obviously, must have moved the body. How exactly? Carrying a corpse off a ship in your arms will raise a few eyebrows. All passenger luggage is inspecting when it's unloaded from arriving vessel. But I would like to think that the border police would query the corpse of the English gentleman as a hand luggage. If the murder had taken place aboard a ship, you would imagine the body would have been disposed of at sea. There would be no sense in risking being caught by attempting to transport the body back to Britain. But perhaps not. We've heard that the first-class passengers were under constant scrutiny by the crewmen posted to guard them, which would mean that the culprit had no opportunity to dispose of the body in the sea. Now, transporting the body to Britain may have been the only viable alternative. You really are new to this, aren't you? I thought I'd been perfectly clear, but it seems I'm going to have to explain it in words you can understand. I think I ought to alter my testimony with your consent, of course, my lord. Okay. There's no possible way I could have transported the victim's corpse back to Britain. So there is a case though. It was traveling case study.
Objection.
I would say the opposite is true. The transporting of Inspector Gregson's body is only something only you could do. As well as me and Judge Mizuko is also Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs, which means he's exempt from having his luggage searched when he enters the country. We learned that when we first met you upon your arrival in London. I mean, it would stink though, wouldn't it? Well, all those passport checks and luggage searches at the border took rather a lot of time. I must say I'm very envious of your ministerial status. You didn't have to go through any of that. Wow. Live in it? I thought of that as well, like buying a van and living off the road, off the grid at least. Such an idea that do entertain. Presume you call this Judge Goku? That big luggage. Wouldn't it stink though if you are actually transporting a freaking corpse in your giant luggage? Gross. Thought about it a lot. But at the same time, you know, there is a lot of problems. Like, you know, with everything, you have to think about everything. Like your water supply, the gray water, emptying all the gray waters. Not only about that, but also, you know, not having a fixed address means that, you know, there are a lot of inconvenience towards it. Like, how you gonna communicate with everything? Well, nowadays you can communicate through, you know, emails and whatnot. Having a PO box somewhere in the cities so that people you can receive stuff. Now, even for Amazon, how you're gonna do Amazon? If you order something from Amazon, you will never get it, so you constantly have to buy it from the shop itself and all those kind of things. And of course, you know, you are limited in the amount of stuff you can carry, so no more shelves for your DVDs, Joshi. And also probably your internet will be much, you know, more expensive, getting a reliable plan and stuff. I mean, nowadays it's possible with Starlink, but otherwise you would be totally cut off from everything. You won't be able to see with Netflix, you won't be able to see a lot of stuff, like those kind of things. It's definitely harder. I mean, if you live up in a van and you don't go very far from the city itself, sure. But at the same time, what's the point then? You know what I mean? Like, if you want a van, it's because of the mobility. It's not part of the advantages of living in a van. It's the ability to move around wherever you want to, as much time as it takes and stuff. So there's that. But at the same time, that would also means that you'll be constantly moving around. So your job opportunity will be much more, you know, limited in a way. So at the end of the day, you still need, monies to do stuff. I mean, for most of the people, if you are receiving, disability pay and stuff, that's another story. I'm afraid I am. Yes. 3 days ago, when we were chatting innocently with the new arrival from Japan in the hotel, the body of Inspector Gregson was just meters away from us, inside Judge Jigoku's truck. Address or they cut it off, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can definitely get an address. That doesn't mean you live in it. So some people do have like a secondary address, like a fixed address of a close relatives and whatnot. But I don't know how to what extent they make verification, or as long as you have an address, even like shelters, because some people who do have that live in a shelter, right? So they don't necessarily have an address, more like their address would be at the shelter itself, so all their pays and whatnot are sent there. Well, I can tell you that that's how it works for some people in Quebec, but Canada as a whole, I don't know. But like I said, it's not their own places stuff, but that's where they stay. So even though they live off, like homeless people live out on the street itself, they do have like a places to receive those kind of things in homeless shelters. I mean, of course, I don't know whether a PO box will count. So the PO box will be acting as like your address some sort of way. So the mail office. I'm skeptical how a groundman body could fit inside even the largest travel truck. It could. It even fits Judge Goku because I happen to know that the witness himself, a man of considerable size, fit inside his truck. And verifying that would be extremely simple. Ew! Ew! Okay, now it's just if the body was inside that freaking trunk, and then days after he actually hid himself into that same trunk, knowing that he hid the body himself, that would mean that he was in the same place, hiding in the same place as a freaking corpse. Gross. Ew. That is, starting to decay and whatnot. That's so gross. Not the same macabre. I'd rather be in the house if I can make money. You want to try and see though? Well, you don't have to try, you just ask them sometimes. After we've spoken with you at the Great Waterloo Hotel, you had the opportunity to visit the apparent scene on Freshnell Street, taking a trunk with you in a cab to deposit the inspector's body. I don't have to listen to this nonsense, Dr. Gorey. The coroner who examined the body has confirmed the possibility. She acknowledges that there are signs that steps might have been taken to disguise a true time of death. The onset of the body decomposition could have been delayed by storing in the refrigerator. Also, as I remember explaining yesterday, refrigerators of the requested site are few and far between. Yes, I'm sure they are, but one place they are certainly found is on the large ocean liners, SS Grouse. Such ships are equipped with electrical refrigerated cold rooms to keep food fresh on their long sea voyage, and the SS Grouse is no exception. You could ask it, see, but then it's a far-fetched thoughts right now. Even I who has a home have that kind of entertaining lines of thought sometimes of living off the grid in a van, relying solely on solar power, getting a Starlink so that I can get internet and whatnot. Of course, there would be a lot of stuff that I have to think of. I mean, I already went camping quite a few times, so I can already see that it can get annoying sometimes. With showers, that's already a thing. With emptying the bucket when you go poop and whatnot. I mean, a lot of people who are living off the grid, like in a van, of course you can shower, get one of the bigger fan where you actually have a shower, but you cannot rely on that all the time because you're constantly being thinking of waters, where to empty the waters and whatnot, and you cannot empty it anywhere you want. Like it's a freaking big bucket, so you will clog a bucket. There are designated places in a camping site that you can empty all the gray matters, which include dirty water and stuff, but also all the poops and whatnot. Yeah, that I know how to do all of it, but it's the inconvenience that comes with it. But it's definitely much cheaper to live on the off the road though, because you don't have to pay rent already, so you're only paying for your internet and gas and whatnot. If electrical vehicles does come eventually, then it's definitely even cheaper, and you can certainly it's like a monthly thing sometimes, like a weekly thing for the water and the food. That is not so much different from going to the grocery stores and get your foods. So it depends. Some people like it, some people don't like it, but I guess there's very like a few minority of people who can do it on a much longer term, like years and years on. Some people can live off the grid like 3 4 years, 5 6 7 years even, and then after that they really the weariness of the road is sets in. Everything you have to think that even living in a van, everything is a little bit flimsier. If your van breaks down, then you're in quite a bit of a trouble. Everything is done for you, so you have to absolutely go for a garage, but you're at a place that you're not aware of where you are because you're moving all the time. So unless you are really staying in the city, then at this point you might as well rent in a small apartment yourself, and that's it. It's the same thing. So, but you get to visit all the places, you get to travel all the places, you get to meet with awesome people. If you want to not be close to a neighbor, then you are definitely not gonna be close to a neighbor because you'll be driving off the road into some woods and stuff. But that is very lonesome life. So I heard a lot of people talking about at first it's definitely very fun. You adapt quite quickly and whatnot. But a couple of years in, definitely there is sense of dreads setting in, and people really want to settle. I mean, the nomad's life, human, historically speaking, people did that in the days, but there's a reason why we settle down in a place. It's just like that's how we are, basically, almost like how we are, genetically speaking. We have to settle down and socialize somewhere. I mean, all the amenities is it's something to get used to. It's not an easy thing. I mean, everything is easy. If you want to go to places, you don't have to think of where to park, where to go. If you need services, you don't have to think where am I, okay, where is the closest point that I can do a certain stuff. Even for like grocery store, if you go to places that you're not familiar with, you have to think of where is the grocery store and all those kind of things. That's what we do when we travel. People get uncomfortable sometimes when you travel because you don't know the places, you don't know the languages or whatnot, and you are questioning where everything is, and people panic sometimes. Like you are in an unfamiliar place, then you panic because you don't even know where to do anything that you normally would do if you were in a city easily. But now it becomes a big thing because you just don't know what to do, even like how to do it. So there's that. But at the end of the day, it really depends on the amount of experience you definitely get the experience of traveling and whatnot, and you develop certain skills around it, so you are much far better off when you have those kind of experience, and eventually they're quite adept to doing that. It's not like I'm gonna buy a van, I'm gonna live off the grid, and that's it. Nothing about anything. It's not gonna be like that. If you have any thinking like that, then good luck, buddy, because you're in a whole world, a can of surprise. It will be good for a driving job. But here's the thing though, truck driver is considered a lot, you know, it's considered a dangerous job. Not because people are driving crazy, there are definitely crazy people driving crazy, but there are a couple of points why, you know, truck driver is considered a very dangerous job. They do have to traverse, you know, some dangerous terrain, yes, that we know. They also have to be doing the same thing for a very long period of time, because most of the truck drivers are not paid hourly. They are paid by mileage. So if you take like 10 days to drive 500 kilometers versus 1 day driving 500 kilometers, you will still be paid the same. So if you drag it out, then you're getting less paid monthly. You understand what I mean? So they will be driving like 8 hours doing the same thing, doing absolutely nothing, cannot, you know, do much of the stuff. Then they get tired, then boom, accident happen. But here's another thing that you might not know that a lot of, you know, truck driver is that you have like a whole cargoes of goods behind you. And if you're driving really long distance that requires you to drive like 12 hours a day for like a couple of days, you eventually need to stop and sleep. Truck stop for that. But, you know, truck stop can get filled in rather, you know, quickly. So the further you are from the center of the truck stop itself, with a lot of, you know, lightings and stuff, you are in the back, a little bit darker and stuff, there are a higher chance of what they call, you know, highway bandit or highway pirates, and your life getting dangerous, you know, because there are thieves out there. So they might wake you up during the night time and then say, you know what, listen, we're gonna take all your stuff, and if you don't cooperate with whatever we did, then we're gonna kill you. Happens a lot of times. The killing took place on Fresno when the gunshot was heard. That would suck. It does happen quite often. That's something that people don't understand that, and it's like you know, you're alone. You sometimes have you know, one member accompany you during those trips as well. So there are some truckers, their wife is on the back, you know, where the bed is, cooking stuff. They do that, yes. But you know, if you're 2 people versus they are like a gang of 10 people just trying to get all the Amazon goods that you're, you know, transporting in the back, there are chances that they might have the upper hand, is what I'm trying to say. So I'm just saying, driving job, whenever it deals with a job, I wouldn't compare it to, you know, just having a van life, what I call it. It's totally different. Like, you cannot compare you with all the goods you have in a van versus someone who's totally, you know, carrying an entire cargo of goods. You know, if you know, anyone is like a big bandit, they would definitely know that, you know, millions of dollars in the bag versus, you know, a couple of thousand in a, you know, van, someone living in a van. Like, even then, you know, a couple of thousand is quite a bit for a van, because, you know, you'll be carrying quite a bit of limited amount of stuff, so that's not comparable. The fans is more than in love or a fairy tale. So you also don't have to worry about all those kind of other things. I mean, you're on the road with your truck versus, you know, van. You'll be visiting, you know, national park, camping site. Not the same. I mean, a truck, you're constantly seeing the same thing on the highway. You'll be driving from point A to point B, stop a little bit. Versus, you know, sightseeing, doing whatever you want. Miss a little bit though. You see how much I think about van life? Because I've thought about van life quite a bit. Very tantalizing, because I think you have okay. Prosecutors think that Inspector Gresham died instantly when he was shot at scene at Fresno Street, but this clearly contradicts that claim. I missed a little bit of a thing. I keep pressing. I keep talking! Joshy, you make me miss the conversation here. Man is much safer. I wouldn't say it's much safer. They definitely have, like I said, difficulties. Not, but not difficult. And now I've experienced van life a little bit. Like I said, I went to camping, so I asked a lot of questions about other people. What do I need to present?
Take that!
As a camper, see? So you actually can ask your sister about, what do you think about living on long term in a camper? The point is the posture of the body itself. Real and mortis, right? If the beam has been shot in there in that room, it's out of question that he would have been curled up in a ball like that. When your logic is flawed, he could easily have adapted that fetal position to the pain of the shot, which subsequently proved fatal. No, I'm sorry to disappoint you, Judge Goku, but it's your logic that is flawed. What? According to his autopsy report, the victim died instantly. He would have felt no pain, much less have been able to draw himself into that position. It does seem kind of fun. It's fun, but fun can only last a certain time. Imagine you're having the same kind of fun, year long, years after years of years. I'm not even talking about seasonal change too, right? I mean, do remember that you're living in, Canada. Winter can get quite rough. So if you are in a places that, it's full of snow because you're high up in a mountain or something, you will be having a lot of trouble getting out of there. First of all, and second, with all the heating and whatnot, that drains a lot of energy. Sun is less during those years too, so you will be relying quite a bit on propane, and you better have a very good insulation on your van. And that is not talking about all the water preventing him from freezing, because during winter time it some of the plumbing system freezes up. Well, guess what's gonna happen? It's gonna explode. You'll be having quite a bit of problem. And guess what is with van? All the plumbing system is quite exposed. So yes, it's possible, yes, but you need to be quite good at doing that. So unless you're not living in Canada, it would be easier if you're constantly living in Florida. Yes, but I mean, think about it, like your plumbing system freezes, so you cannot even have drinking water. That would be something. You know what I mean? So these are the things that you have to think if you're gonna live on a van night. I thought about it. But like I said though, well, back in the day, like a couple of years ago, before I even start the streaming thing, so what, 7-8 years ago, I do have, all my camping equipment and stuff, and I did some winter camping and stuff, so I personally know about the difficulty of that. I don't have all the toiletries and stuff, but I definitely, one of those camping boxes and whatnot that opens up and fold up, so I did all of that. So I know from my personal experience some of the difficulties because of that. Alright, give me a second, I need to go to the bathroom to buy bathroom. Okay, I'm back. We should go on camping trip together. I mean, you're a little far from me. Also, I saw my big things like the big box thing because it's taking places and stuff. I mean, like I said though, I used to do it back in the day, but that's also very draining in terms of placement. Because, you know, where I am, not only the car takes places, but the camping boxes takes place too. So, it will be a little bit too much for me. I just drive down here, so I don't have all my camping equipment. You know what I mean? Why do I have this thing? I do. Present my trunk? I refuse. What? What ground? Get some? You know how expensive the camping van is? I'm the Minister of Foreign Affairs from the Empire of Japan. I shouldn't have to put up with this treatment just because of some strikingly baseless accusation. In other words, Judge Goku, there is blood in your trunk. I decline to answer that. Has the Minister of Foreign Affairs a privilege that allowed me to know you don't? You're not a government minister. You are a witness in a trial in Britain's highest court. I don't care who you are or what your status outside this courtroom. So he is evil. Wow. My gut feeling at the beginning was wrong. Totally wrong. What's it to be? Do you want to present your trunk? Have you no shame at all, Kazuma? I did bring in Switzerland the country. Very well. Inside my trunk, exactly as postulated by the defense. What? Dear God, outrageous! So it was you. You admitted to Inspector Gregson's. No, I admit to nothing more than what I've said. Of killing the man, I certainly have no recollection. What? Yo, a judge go for killing a person and then I say no, I did not? Yo, this is like the worst judge ever. I immediately disposed of the inspector's body, which was left in my cabin. In order to avoid unwanted attention, as the judicial assistant over there pointed out, I had no chance to throw it into the ocean. So I decided my only option was to bring it into Britain with me and dispose of it somewhere else. What? Then who or not did kill the man? As you know, there was one other person in my cabin that night. He had the opportunity. And moreover, he's already accepted a mission to take the inspector's life. Who else could have been? It was you, Kazuma Soge. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Seishiro Jikoku. You thought by leaving the body in my cabin you could pin the crime on me, did you? On an assassination mission, no less. You wouldn't! So what do you make of that, young stripling? You've heard my testimony now, and that's all I have to say on the matter. I'll admit to nothing more. You... What? The assertion that on the night in question, the victim's assailant was in fact Mr. Kazuma Asogi. Or Kazuma, or both of them had the opportunity to break them, but only one of them did it. And I'm just a step away from proving who. Very well, the defense is ready to respond to the assertion. It must be Jigoku, right? Possible, I'll say. Let's go that way. You claim the logical reasoning is the future of judicial process. Logical reasoning can prove something here, namely that it would have been impossible for this prosecutor association to commit the crime. The court will only accept an argument that is supported by compelling evidence and present what you have, counsel. Oh. So freaking cold. And you will live in a van? You will not have that heater. I mean, a propane heater can only last you so long, so think about it for a second. But there are some people who like, you know, chop woods and have a little bit of a wood thing, so pretty much like a foyer in their van. That can last you a little bit longer because it does not require any other fuels besides, you know, going to Walmart once in a while to buy chops of wood. No, but I mean in the van you have to. You don't have constant electricity. You would need quite a bit of battery in order to run in a van. In a constant electricity and stuff. That's quite a big thing.
Take that!
How does that prove anything? It does prove anything. The moment you acknowledge that you found the victim floating in your cabin, this itinerary suddenly became much more significant, isn't it? A car of backup? In order for you to be running everything, do you know how many car batteries you need? Or like a constant term without any refills on the batteries, Joshi? You know, have you never, you know, happened to know that, you know, if you leave during winter time, your car's light on, then maybe tomorrow morning you'll be having trouble. Imagine running electric heaters for the entire night. You will not last long. You know, only for a freaking small little light, your entire car battery will run out. So you need a recharging option, and only reliable, well, semi-reliable options you have is like solar panel. But during wintertime, solar panel is like because, you know, the amount of sunlight you get is very limited. You get, you know, so few sunlight compared to during summertime. So that tells you that the crime must have taken place when the guard was elsewhere, right? And that narrowly that 20 minutes just after 10 o'clock has indicated on the itinerary. Yes, I see no flaws in your reasoning so far. But the crucial point is this: when the evacuation took place, the steamship are already put to sea from the port of Dunkirk. See? So now, clearly the murder could only have been committed by somebody who was aboard the vessel at the time. The prosecutor, as stated in yesterday's proceeding, he moved to Florida, and yeah, that would be more viable, but even then, you know, constantly running all your equipment, that includes, you know, a stove, that includes, you know, in Florida you might want to have the opposite problem, actually. You need to have a certain ways of, you know, getting an AC because you'll be burning, grilling inside. It's quite hot in Florida during summertime, so you'll be grilling, so you would need to have somewhat of a portable AC, which comes to the same problem of, you know, having the electricity. There are definitely, you know, ACs that you It's possible. You know, there are AC that does not use a lot of electricity. It's, you know, pretty much built for that. So that's more feasible. But still, you need to do. No, absolutely not. Yes, I don't accept that at all. Well, what do you mean? What do you accept or not? The boy just saying that to exonerate himself. We can trust that he really disembarked the vessel. Obviously, after he left, like, he himself somewhere nearby on the ship, just waiting for his chance to come back and finish. No. No, that's out of question. Isn't it, Kazuma? As the defense rightly could recall, Rizumon vessel spent the night in a boarding house in Dunkirk. And as I said yesterday, I signed my name in the accommodation register book. All extremely easy to verify and undeniable proof. There's no escape this time. You can forget that you're a judge or a government minister. This time you gave the court an honest answer as a common man. Oh no, the judge is gonna become a guilty prisoner. You killed Inspector Tobias Gregson and transported his corpse back to Britain. Then you dumped the body in the room of Fresno Street and made it look as if the murder had happened there. Joshi! You killed it! That's really what happened, isn't it? Seishiro Jigoku. It was that damn trial 10 years ago. Okay, but now my fate was decided that day. I was doomed already. Oh, wow, Joshi's... Yo! What? Joshi, you're so strong, you break the entire stand. Make an earthquake. But you're still prisoner. It's over, my life. It's over. Yeah, sure, you kill a man. It's totally you. A Japanese assassin detective in Britain, both assassins will use the Toronto immunity to evade conviction and return safely to their homeland. The assassin exchange request arrived from Britain about 1 year ago, though it was hardly a request, it was a demand. Not a man. But things didn't go according to plan. Your chosen assassin never made it to Britain. You found yourself unable to dispatch a replacement. Really? The case is gonna end like this? What about the case 10 years ago? We still have to resolve Kazuma Asogi's father's mystery crime. I mean, only one option to carry out my obligation, to eliminate the mark myself personally. There was but a single opportunity for me to do that, the International Forensic Science Symposium. I decided it would be the safest to carry out the plan before my arrival in Britain, so I enlisted the help of my British counterpart to make arrangement for a pretext that would take the inspector to Dunkirk. Who is your British counterpart? To lure the man in, he was given a sham mission by the Reaper. The mastermind of the entire operation, the Reaper himself. It was all planned by the Reaper. Not at liberty to say anything about my British counterpart. Anyway, the inspector accepted the Reaper's mission and dutifully infiltrated my cabin on the steamship. But it was all a trap designed to lead him to France and his own death. Really? It was past 9 o'clock when I returned to my cabin from dining hall that evening. I didn't give him time to attack me or choke him until he lost consciousness. Wow! Well, I mean, as strong as the judge is, he can definitely choke someone to lose consciousness. But there was a guard just outside the door, so I left it at that for the time being. Even the slightest noise might have aroused suspicion, so I bided my time waiting. For 20 minutes after 10 o'clock, I intended finishing by strangulation, but the moment before I had the chance, he suddenly came around and went for me in a reckless mood. Bang! I received a British issue gun 16 years earlier, being a member of the judiciary as a visiting student. I never imagined I have to use it for something like that. Wow. That's the judge from previous case? That is. The murderer right now is actually a judge from a previous case back in Japan. Not only is he a judge, which judge are we talking about? You're talking about this dude here? He is technically not a judge. He's more like a high-ranking officer, the Lord Chief of Justice, presiding over these cases, overthrown the English judge. Like, but the one that is killing this man over here is actually the Japanese judge back in the land of Japan. He is really a judge. So the judge actually, kills someone in order to fulfill, I don't know why he said it was a demand from the British of Empire, but it's more like a, international diplomatic, issues revolving around that. So apparently he cannot refuse the thing, has to do it. So it's an assassin exchange, so Japan gets to choose, whoever they want to be dead, and same thing for the Great Britain. They choose their assassin and they get to dictate, you kill this person. In exchange, your person coming to Japan will kill someone for us, something like that. The victim was killed inside your cabin on SS Grouse. Oh, that's pretty crazy. I know, right? That makes you wonder whether it really happens in real life too. Like I said earlier, think about it. Canada, I don't know, the Prime Minister is like, there's one person that is a pain in my ass, but I don't, want any of the people from my country to do it. So they ask, I don't know, the US saying, hey, Biden, I need you to kill someone for me. In exchange, I'm gonna kill someone that's paying on your ass for you. And then, as a way for the assassins to get out of it, we're gonna do a diplomatic exchange so that the assassin can both go back to their own country. That's exactly what is happening right now in this game. It's like that. Could happen, I don't know. The young judicial assistant over there, however, there was no way I could take the body up on the neck and throw it on. I mean, the thorn in our butt got, erased, and none of the assassin, who has, even remotely any motives of killing that person, get to go back to their places, escape. Could be. But at the end of the day, though, the English assassin in this game actually did die. So the only one that's left, alive is Kazuma Asoge, which was supposed to be the prosecutor in this case, but he backed out at the last minute. He did get the contract. And was not supposed to be the judge who went for the killing. That's what he's saying. He's saying that, since my chosen assassin decided at the last minute to not kill the person that it was assigned to kill, then I have no choice but to do it myself. That's totally messed up. This case is like totally messed up. It's all over the place. And then on arriving in Dover, you conceal the body in your trunk in order to smuggle it past the border police. I knew I needed to take steps if the police were to be convinced when the body was found in London. In that case, you must have known. You must have had intimate details of Inspector Rex's intended schedule. That is messed up, I know, right? My British counterpart sent me everything I needed to know. The inspector was due at Fresno Street at 5 o'clock that afternoon in order to meet a man by the name of Huge Boone, from whom he would take back his police identification. So that's also something totally, aside. The police officer who is a victim of this case right here is also acting sort of like a vigilante, let's put it that way, a vigilante in an organization called the Reaper. So he would be carrying out, shady things. Apparently he's more like a tactician and stuff, but that police officer also carries out, assassination as well. But he's more like, he's planning for the assassination more than like directly. So in order for him to have alibis, he would ask this Huge Boone here, who is another man who has, no idea what's going on, to be acting on his stead as a police officer. So he would give his police identification, who does not have photos of the said police officer himself, into the identification, so the badge and stuff, and then just do whatever and pretend it to be me, like Tobias Gregson instead of Huge Boone, so that he would have an alibi of other people saying, Inspector Gregson was at this place at this time doing some stuff, whereas in fact the real Inspector Gregson is somewhere else doing something shady. It's very convoluted. Very, very convoluted. So I decided that would be perfect person to set up as a culprit, so I took a hackney carriage over there with the body still in my trunk. That must have been just after we took this photograph we threw at the hotel. Yes, I wasn't expecting welcoming comedies. I was more than a little nervous. Very complicated, I know, right? So on Fresno Street, I spotted a young girl selling a firecracker. Miss Venus, right? And I conceived of the candle trick there and then. I donned a simple disguise and approached the girl to buy in a firecracker to replicate a gunshot. So he is asking, well, he's basically talking about how you fake crime scene, the second crime scene. So for some reason the inspector had a bright red hairpiece in his own traveling case, so I pulled that on, although I suspected I drew more attention to myself in that than I would have otherwise. The evidence we found on the piece, the inspector had it ready for the red-headed league investigation. I only arrived at the room at around 4:45, so I quickly placed the body on the floor, moved the notice board and set up my little candle tree. I arranged it so the firecracker would go off with a bang around 15 minutes later, so that Mr. Boone, who was due to arrive at 5, would walk straight into a trap. Except at the last moment, I made a careless blunder. So instead of, having Huge Boone goes in, another person went in and took the blame instead. I imagined it was the bag of fish and chips. I didn't notice that it had fallen out of his overcoat pocket when I moved the body to the refrigeration room. I put it back into his pocket the following morning, but it rotted. It seems the warmth of the heated cabinet had accelerated the decay of the fish. Yes. Anyway, that's my blunder, huh? That's everything. All the sordid details of what I did. You are a judge and you actually went for a killing assassination mission. I cannot even, I guess there are people out there who are evil like that, of course, but having that kind of high authority, even I have not seen that many people do that, having done that. I mean, I've seen a lot of corruption, like money scandal and those kind of things, from a higher ups and whatnot, yes, but I rarely heard, higher up or ranking officer minister killing someone like with an assassination plan as well. That's quite something. I mean, at this point, we low citizens would never hear about those kind of things too. I mean, even in in this game, like everything is like a closed trial too, so it's not even open to the public. maybe that's also how things happen in the real world too. If such a thing, it's just a big scandal that is ever gonna happen, and then gonna go through a close trial and then no more words outside. Definitely possible. Who knows? The most severe penalty, an exchange of assassin. What a foolhardy idea. So Jikoku, one last detail. Who was your counterpart in Britain? Who was the mastermind behind the assassin exchange? He's not gonna say it. Just tell us. Enough! I've already told you that I cannot say. Even though as things stand, you may very well never set foot in your homeland again. What are you waiting for? Can we get this over with now? It's finished, all of it. You're going to prison in a foreign land. Then, in the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I now pronounce the finding of this court. This man before us has admitted to the willful murder of Tobias Gregson. He will be sentenced to death though. Back in the day, we are talking about the 1900s here. Death sentence is still a thing. I don't know whether today, I don't think today is a thing in England. I definitely don't think so. Back in the day, definitely 100% kind of thing. So he's gonna be sentenced to death. Say Shiro Jikoku, it is the opinion of this court that you should be found guilty, right? May I remind all those present of the strict confidentiality demanded by this closed court. Moments ago, Mr. Jikoku signed a written confession admitted to the murder of Inspector Gregson and the subsequent conveyance of the body. In short, the defendant's innocence has therefore been established beyond doubt. Yes, thank you. But there is also another cases though, it's not finished. 10 years ago, something happened. And we are not solved. We have not solved that, so we are definitely going into that territory. This is another international exchange student incident back 10 years ago involving the prosecutor's father. We do remain in the dark about this mystery insofar as the indictment brought against the defendant in this trial. We have reached a conclusion. I have every intention of pursuing both mysteries as a prosecutor. As you wish. Now, for the formal adjudication. I hereby declare the defendant Barrow Van Zeke.
Objection!
Objection? Really? What are you gonna prove? What? The prosecution calls for adjudication to be deferred. About what? Based on what ground? The accused's innocence has been fully established at all. What do you mean? I mean, for this case, definitely. It would be wrong to deliver a verdict at this time. That is the prosecution's unwavering position. But what? Based on what ground? He has already confessed, that's what I'm saying, so he did not kill Tobias Gregson. Barrow Van Zeke has committed a crime for which he must be punished, which is right. You have information that the court needs to hear, yeah? Go ahead. The murder of Inspector Gregson was actually carried out by Seishiro Jigoku, but it's clear from the witness testament that they was coerced into complying with the plot. Also, we are going that ground, okay? Into this sick, merciless assassin exchange, so you are still gonna blame him as the head of the Reaper, right? So he's the mastermind behind it, the English counterpart. Is that where we're going? So what I want to know is who coerced Jigoku, who was pulling the string. Okay, he's going that way. So the victim went to France having been ordered on a mission for the Reaper only to be murdered. In other words, the mastermind behind the assassin exchange is someone in a position to give such an order. As a prosecutor, you have such a... Okay. As we already established the Reaper himself, well, certainly, that would appear to follow. The prosecution hereby formally accused the man in the dock, Baron von Z, of being the Reaper of the Bailey, and furthermore, I'm going to prove his guilt beyond all reasonable doubts. Oh, we are going there. So, we have... So even I don't know what kind of... So, planification of a murder still be considered a murder. Is that what it is? You suggested you have some new information? I mean, they would be definitely complicit of murder, that's for sure. But it's more than that, he's the mastermind of coercing murder, so in that case it would still be a murder. Okay, so now events Lord and Zeke very twill in that regard, they found no evidence whatsoever to substantiate the claim that he is the Reaper. Perhaps, but circumstances have now changed. Okay. It's already been established that the assassin exchange was negotiated with Jikoku by the Reaper himself, which means we now have a new line of questioning by which to identify definitively the man's identity. That is the prosecution's intention. I must say I'm surprised by quite how tenaciously you appear to want to besmirch my name. Yeah, the question is why? You're guilty of an unforgivable crime. And I will bring you to justice for it, whatever it takes. Okay. Stop but not to finish what Lord Van Zik unwillingly started 10 years. Okay, good. So what are we going there? So where are we going there for? What are we doing here? I will on this occasion grant the prosecution further opportunity for witness testimony. The defendant will disclose any, but you already... Well, he did not say the education though, but at the same time he did say the he did say that another man is already guilty of that. He can only be complicit though. It's such a weird thing. Okay. Oh, so we're back to this again. Guys. Just realized I did something very stupid. Pray turn a blind eye to the discordant star, verify this vile and unremitting accusation as it sour the content of my house. I first had to suffer the pseudonym of the Reaper 10 years ago now, and ever since that time I've endured the weight of the implied guilt that's gone with it, but no longer. So I welcome the chance to testify now and crush those allegations once and for all. Good. He's like, good, do it. The prosecution seeks to begin building its case by calling the accused to the stand as the primary witness. Ah, well. Yeah, answer the accusation brought by the cadet that he is the Reaper of the Bailey. Sure. Putting the defendant in the witness stand can be extremely dangerous. But I knew it would be like this. I came here today to determine to face him through whatever might arise as a lawyer and as his friend. Now that would mean that I would need to implicate the Lord Chief Strongheart there. Let's go. I'm absolutely certain Strongheart is not innocent now because of the action he does, and give the formal testimony on the subject of your involvement with the Reaper and the Assassin Exchange. I'm absolutely certain now. I've never taken the life of another, nor have I instructed another to kill. I've been investigating the truth behind the Reaper for years, and I was aware of Gregson's involvement. That's the reason why I went to Fresno Street that day and how I came to discover the body. He didn't change his version. The point is, no common threat exists between myself, Gregson, and Dr. Wolves. If someone is evil, can they prevent people from dying in Star Wars? If someone is evil, can they prevent people from dying? If he's evil, he's not gonna have a natural tendency to prevent people from dying. There's no reason to succeed behind the assassin. I'm not gonna say anything at all. I mean, if he's evil, he's gonna have to want to kill people, not prevent people from dying. I mean, of course, he can, you know, control people from a distance by preventing them from dying, like a resurrection, necromancy, maybe. I mean, unless he has any use by preventing that person from dying, then yes, maybe. That was certainly not like a primary goal to prevent people from dying if someone is evil. I'm not even in a position to forswear. Not sure the prosecution believed the test was just given by the accused to be untrue. It's probably not possible, no. If you are evil, like I said, by nature, evil means that you would want someone to die, you want someone to suffer before they die, and not only do they have to suffer before they die, they want totally everyone around them to suffer at the same time, just to slowly get that person to the ultimate point of, you know, climaxing it, which is death. If you are evil, you should know that, Josh. You're evil. Desire to uncover the truth, even if the truth proves your client to be guilty. Of course, from all my experience in this courtroom, I've come to realize something. You don't like evilness? You don't like yourself? Truth can be hidden soon and that will come out. So it's always my intention to work with my client in pursuit of the truth. I want you to remember what you said. Dilatory chatters. Counsel for the defense proceed to the cross-examination of the witnesses. Okay. I know exactly what you're thinking, Kazuma. I know you're just waiting to point it out. Contradiction, your convinced lies somewhere within this man's testimony. Okay, he never killed anyone. Not what the general refers to as the infamous Reaper of Deity. This is like a drawn out case though. Even after knowing that he did not kill it, he's still gonna go after it. Don't imagine for a moment that the court would be satisfied with one word answer on this. Now realize that if you're intending to comment on every sentence, this could take a while, Kazuma. Did you find it disturbing though? One by one, defendants who have been acquitted after your unsuccessful prosecution. Let me answer that question proposing another. If one by one defendant who's been acquitted after your successful defense were killed, would you find that disturbing? Exactly. that told me. But even though I'm not the Reaper, that doesn't mean I know all the hearsay. I've been investigating the truth behind the Reaper for years and I was aware of Gregson's involvement. You say for years, how long exactly? 10 years? Since the very first time the Reaper's influence was felt in his court. This is like 10 years ago. And so that's how we're gonna make the link back to 10 years ago. Okay, your investigation led you somehow to Inspector Gregson. It was a personal acquaintance. We worked on cases together in the past. Okay. It felt like betrayal, but I demanded permission to search his office so that you all without his knowledge, which is when you found his secret notebook. It's when I first learned of the location he noted only has grouse in the apartment at 5 PM on the 31st, though I didn't know the significance of those details at the time. So now we're at the nub of the matter. As it turns out, the significance for me personally was very unfortunate. So you did not understand what it was. That's the reason why I went to Fresno Street that day and how I came to discover the body. But why did you go to that specific location? I thought that if it was the Reaper headquarters, then by turning up there at 5 o'clock I would catch whoever was involved red-handed. Sadly, all that was awaiting for me was this stupid trial with the inspector's corpse. Even though it wasn't designed for you, who you walked straight into the trap set by Jigoku. I mean, doesn't Jigoku mean hell in Japanese? So name do mean something, right? Jigoku, hell. Jigoku I intended to implicate a huge boon, but unhappily for me, I arrived at the scene first. A ridiculous careless blunder. How was he supposed to know? Move on to just throwing insults around. Think what you will, it doesn't change the truth. So the point is, no common thread exists between myself, Gregson, and Dr. Wilson. No common. There isn't between you and Gregson, though. Of course, we were close acquaintances. We work on numerous. No, we're not talking about that. I consider meant to be a mentor of sort. He taught me a number of important lessons. Such as what? Where to buy good fish and chips and such like. Lessons? Dr. Wilson was a coroner, of course, but that was some time in the past. In many cases, I understand it was several years ago now that he was invited to work at the Japanese University. That's right, he was a visiting professor at the Imperial Yume University in Tokyo. Unambiguously clear then that no link exists between myself and him. In other words, I had no motives for sending some assassin across the ocean to kill the man. It sounds plausible and I want to believe it. But some things about this just doesn't sit right with me. So even the game is pointing there. But I have a photograph back there.
Objection!
Not it? About the safe too. Whatever fate falls you in here, no one outside will ever know that. Stop threatening me. I mean, he does though. I have a photograph to show that. Maybe that's this one too.
Objection!
We have one only. So it has to be sentence 4 then. So I need to. And then I have a reason to use it to make it this case. So we don't have something first. Yeah, I meant this could be dangerous. I want to say convincing. There was a point where the game is pointing me at sentence 4 that something is wrong. So what kind of proof that I have? I have the photographic proof. I thought that was it, but it's not. Dr. Wilson. I'll review my note about the cases of evidence. Van Zik has something to hide after all. So it has to be sentence 4. Save here. Sentence 4 here. John X. Wilson. We already know about Gregson. Is it because of Dr. Wilson? Bugs should take your medicine, but it makes you tired, so not taking it yet? Well, you should. If it's prescribed by your doctors, at least try it. And if it's not working, then you should be talking with your doctor, saying that, you know, I have these kind of symptoms, it's not making me comfortable. What do you mean, oh boy, Peter? You take it every night? Okay. Okay, you mean like, you know, you want to take it later. Yeah. Might be a problem. What is a problem?
Objection.
This is 10 years old. From Outer Lord Clean Man Zeke. What? My brother's autopsy report? Well, if it's making you sleepy, then you should take it right before sleep. That's more like the more feasible thing. I mean, the doctor can definitely change it, but you know, you control it, so. I'm pleased to see the defense. Doesn't intend to run from the enemy, or true? 5 AM in an hour? It just bugs you. I mean, I don't think an hour is gonna make much of a difference. Indelible link between Inspector Gregson and the defendant, really, not the accused name again, the professor. So we'll link back to all of it. The person is to research all the recovery in this case. I know that at the time autopsy was considered sacrilege. The victim saw, and for a member of the aristocracy like Lord Clint Van Zeke, it was unthinkable. Yeah, I remember then. Inspector Gregson was the one who pushes for the autopsy because, you know, back in the day there were no autopsies to be done because it was sort of like a bad thing to do for the deceased. They need to be conserved in full body and whatnot, so it's not completely viewed as a good thing to do autopsy. But then, you know, Gregson pushed it, so it was Dr. John H. Wilson who did the autopsy back in 10 years. Okay, but someone imposed the power that to be allowed the autopsy to go ahead, Inspector Gregson. No, he declared that it was certain that he would obtain the conclusive proof from the procedure. Right. And it was Dr. Wilson who conducted the autopsy. His signature is clearly visible in the document. As promised by Gregson, the autopsy did indeed produce evidence. Evidence and conclusive proof Genshin Asugi was guilty of the murders. In my brother's dying moment, he must have always remained restrained to leave the vital clues behind. Indeed, that was the key to indicting the professor for his crime and conclusive evidence that convicted him. In the name of Lord Van Zik here to avenge his brother's senseless death with a marvelous victory. A marvelous victory, was it? I wonder if that's really true. What? But the same be said if it turned out that the key piece of evidence in question was in fact fabricated. Oh, so that's where we're going. If the inspector, coroner, and the prosecutor all colluded together to cast an innocent Japanese man as a mass murderer and send him to his death. That's outrageous. And now, 10 years later, for some reason the secret has been threatened and needed protecting, which is why the inspector and the coroner had to be silenced, isn't it? Wow, by someone in power in Japan and in Britain, using the two killer recruited for the assassin exchange. There was someone else. You don't have to be up early, but I act like it just cause he gets early that everyone else has to. If you don't get early, you have a problem. If you don't get early, just don't get early. Order at once! 10 years ago, my father was convicted in this very courtroom as a mass murderer to be sentenced to death. I mean, if you have work to do, then yes, you should take, sleeps and whatnot. Never work and, having sleeping pills that, makes you drowsy and whatnot in your body. That affects you too much, that's never a good thing because you could hurt yourself, but, if you're not doing anything. Which is why I had to come to Britain, whatever the cost. You will have to forgive me if I feel compelled to toast this vengeful Nipponese tenacity of purpose here. However, he who fails to quash his emotion in courtroom has failed as a lawyer. Come on, Kazumon, you know this won't wash. You are claiming your father was misrepresented in a trial that took place a whole decade ago. You must see that without evidence, that's nothing more than a wild accusation. You don't even want to be on them. No, but I'm saying that if whether you want to or not, if it's good for you, then you should take it. Sometimes, as a patient, we might not necessarily see the benefits of certain things, but after trying a couple of times, it does. It gets annoying, but if it makes you better, then we don't always get to do what we feel, what we want, and there are concessions to make is what I'm trying. Cross the channel to France with Gregson on the 31st. I went with him on the pretext of being the assassin recruited to kill Seishiro. It has really been helping much though. I mean, as long as it helps a little bit, then just take it until there are some medication that you have to continue taking, even though it's not taking effect, until you wean it off. Otherwise, you might go for withdrawal symptoms and whatnot. So that's not necessarily a good thing, but it's always a good thing to talk with your doctor whenever you are not feeling about certain medication that might, because you already develop a tolerance towards that medication itself, and it's time for you to change. Antibiotic works like that, yes, but there are also certain things like that you have to continue taking it, even though it's no longer working for you. It's no longer serving its purpose because you're already healed. Some narcotic and stuff, you cannot just stop it from stopping it. That you sometimes have to. Some antipsychotic is also on the same level, but you just cannot stop it like that. Otherwise, you will develop really bad, symptoms. But I will to you like Gazer. I went with him on the pretext of being an assassin recruited to kill Seishiro Jigoku, but my true intention were to make the inspector tell me the truth. Okay. Yeah, that's what I said. I had a medicine that to this day has given me twitches because of the travel you self-withdrew from it. That's what I'm saying. Like, there are certain medication that you would not, even if it's not serving its purpose, So you have to constantly wean it off slowly, bit by bit. So you cannot just stop the medication itself. And I'm talking about antipsychotic, but there are also like other stuff like a weight loss medicine that has certain component of a narcotic inside that the person cannot just stop it because it's not gonna be good for the body itself. There are so many medications. Now I'm definitely not an expert, but I've seen so many medications like that being administered, but it's not serving its effects. So we have to talk with the doctor. But it cannot be stopped like that. I just know about that. True about the knowledge of what I've already deduced. There's a closely guarded secret about what went on in the autopsy 10 years ago. So wow. Okay. No, any and nothing must while we waited for my supposed market to go, I drew my clan's illustrious sword caramel before the inspector's eyes. And I very clearly understood what my true motives was. Now, it very depend on the answer you give my question. I want to know what really happened. Oh, okay, the truth, that's all. Before we get into it, let me make one thing clear. I still believe your father was a professor, there's no doubt in my mind. But unfortunately back then, we didn't have the evidence we needed to make the crime sting. Oh, what? So we need to okay. So you admitted then the evidence used in my father's trial was fabricated. Oh wow. It was for the good of the country. Anyway, I was just following orders. Ooh, so what exactly did you do? I'm not saying another word. Even if your life depends on it? That's right. Even then. Shring! So he did cut the inspector, huh? So that's when the tip of the sword broke. He actually went for everyone is like what is going on here? Everyone is like crooked here. In this case. Well, maybe not the defendant. But I mean everyone is crooked. The defense lawyer, I mean of course the protagonist is not crooked. The prosecutor Kazuma is crooked because he was like a contract assassin that did not want to carry out a contract, but he did something totally else. Oh no. They only have been honored to pervert the course of justice in the way possible by one man, the man leading the case for the prosecution, Baron von Z. In other words, the defendant did have cause to organize this exchange of assassins. Exactly, and as was established earlier, it has to be been the Reaper himself who lies with Jigoku in Japan to arrange the exchange. So it follows that the Reaper's true identity can only be that man who stands accused in this courtroom's Red Bar and Benzine. What?
Objection!
Kazuma Sogi, what you've just told the court, are you absolutely certain of your facts? Did Gregson really fabricated evidence for that trial 10 years ago? I heard it with my very own ears, his shameful admission. In that case, I know the name of the Reaper. I gave no such order, I know for that for certain, which narrows down the remaining possibilities to one. There's only one other person who could have done something like that. I believe I know who it is too. You? I mean, Mayo's... He was already the chief prosecutor back then. True, I didn't have infamous fame. Must be him though. Otherwise, no one would be in any position. I mean, none of these people existed back then. I mean, he did exist back then, but it was like a, chief warder. He doesn't have any position. Barricading is like a prison, so it happens afterward. I mean, he might. Tobias Gregson definitely not. He's dead already. Neither is he. He's like a pawn. So Mariah Gorey definitely not. I mean, her mother maybe, but that was like, the autopsy report. That was a doctor, so I would highly doubt it was the doctor. So it could be the chief, the governor of Barclay Prison, or we are gonna go with Mayor Strongheart with absolute authority in judicial matter. I mean, that's definitely the only possible person. I mean, Eugene is in Japan, so doesn't make sense. Production doesn't hold any authority, even though he's a clever boy. None of these, like, have any. I don't think it's barricaded. It seems to be was good friend with Professor. I mean, he was there to execute stuff. Any authority. So I would say he. The only person who could have arranged the assassin exchange and manipulated the autopsy result is the Lord Chief Justice himself, Lord Mayo Strongheart. What? Lord Strongheart? Yo. Yes, it's true that 10 years ago the defendant handled the prosecution of the procession in court, but he only took over the case after his brother, Lord Clean Van Zyck, had been killed. I can only assume that this is the most inappropriate joke in British judicial history. Well, Lord Van Zyck, 10 years ago, I was very new to my profession. I had a burning desire to avenge my brother's death, so I pleaded for control of the case. The investigation to that point, the supplication of the Lord to allow my brother's corpse to be examined, all the evidence that was given, the autopsy report, it all came from you. I've spent my life since then believing I was in your debt for the way you stood aside and let me handle the trial, but I see now. I was very much mistaken. It was a hugely influential force that caused the inspector and the coroner to break the laws 10 years ago, and that same force was still felt a decade later on the other side of the world by Seishiro Jigo. Lord Strongheart, everything falls into place when we recognize that you are the Reaper of the Daily. The court outweighs your response, my lord. This may very well go down in British judicial history, but I assure you it is no joke. What the well? Well, I knew that it was gonna go this way eventually because, that man is way too imposing for... So, but we are going down that rabbit hole. Now, imagine when you are in a court where you are a defense lawyer, you are a witness, and whatever, everything is like, judge, you are the one who did something. This very thing, you fabricated stuff, you did this and this, that, making accusation. As a judge, do you actually have, well, first of all, you don't have to answer anything that incriminate yourself. I don't know whether back then you have to do it anyway. But, definitely right now, you don't have to. But it's like a very shady kind of defense. Because if you're not answering, then whatever. But at the same time, everyone's like, you did it. What are you gonna do? You gonna still preside judging yourself? How does that work? A formal accusal by the defense. It doesn't warrant a response. Yeah, that's what I thought. A formal accusal? Don't be absurd. The defense claim are utter nonsense, a wild fantasy at best. You are not going to defend yourself? Well, of course not. You claim there was some wrongdoing with Lord Clint Van Zeke's autopsy? That's utterly untrue.
Objection.
Where is your evidence? Indeed, he's a dead man. What? The evidence that Gregson's dead now, unless you were thinking of summoning a ghost to the stand? You mean to say, no? That man's tell no tales. I forgot how the system worked in your little backwater country. Now he's mad the backwater, but in court of British Empire without evidence there is no case. I have no intention of intending some wild fantasies that can possibly be substantiated by anyone or anything. Following Inspector Gregson's murder and in the light of Dr. Wilson's death as well, there's really no one left who could testify about the event of 10 years ago, is there? There is though. So that was the real purpose of Assassin Exchange? There is though. Even though it's signed by Dr. John X. Wilson, it's actually Mikotoba who's there too. I object. I object. Mikotoba is still alive. I can't. Only there was someone who could testify about Clint Van Zeke's autopsy. I can. He's gone to extraordinary lengths to cover his track, but even so far as dispatching an assassin all the way to Japan to ensure Dr. Wilson's silent, Dr. C will say anything against Strongheart while she's in prison already. But there's still one ray of hope. There is. Actually, there is one person. One person who could still testify about that autopsy. Don't be ridiculous, there's no one left. Who? Kazuma I. I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing this for the truth. The person the defense would like to call to the stand to testify the autopsy of Lord King
Take that!
Yuji Mikotoba. Another Japanese? An expert in forensic medicine, my lord, Professor Yuji Mikotoba. 16 years ago, he came to London with Seishiro Jikoku Genshin Asogi as a visiting student. And what could his testimony possibly tell us? Professor Mikotoba was the primary assistant during the autopsy in question. He was also the person who actually penned the report. Incorrect. The autopsy was carried out by the coroner, Dr. Wilson. The report carries his signature. He was the primary assistant's duty to keep a written record of the coroner's work during the procedure. In actual fact, the coroner merely read over the report at the end and signed it. Yeah, it is. Pretty funny how your dad tells you to sleep early when it gets 4 hours in the night. You know, once before someone could witness the entire autopsy from start to finish. The defense demand that Professor Mikotoba be summoned as a witness as a matter of urgency. Whatever really happened in that autopsy laboratory 10 years ago is something only he can tell us. The defense demand is denied based on what? Could summon him to the stand in minutes. Of course he's not gonna go out agreeing to it. Strong has no intention of summoning anyone. He's too concerned about protecting himself. Professor Asogi, let me refresh your memory as you seem to have forgotten about the prosecution's death. Only minutes ago you accused the defendant of being in the Reaper and of masterminding the assassin's exchange. I did, yes. So present your evidence for those claims and make your case complete. At this time I don't have the requisite evidence, but that's exactly why we need witnesses' testimony. Professor case is closed. There are no clues in the distance past that will bolster your argument today. Yo, imagine someone is laughing that giant ass thing. Bam! Bam! Man, tell me, Joshi, why are you not sleeping? Bang! Bang! You will be sleeping with your, cover on your head. Joshi, Why are you not sleeping at this hour? For to say, Professor, that you would appear to be possessed by the spirit of your late homicidal father. Now, as I stated earlier, this course had already reached a conclusion with respect to the matter at hand. Inspector Gregson was murdered by Japanese Supreme Court Judge Seishiro Jigoku. As for any hidden accomplices that may exist, they will be investigated in due course by the proper authorities. But we all know what will happen. That'll just give the mastermind of the whole venture time to cover his track again, which is... By which you mean me? Yes, I totally mean you. Like, what are you thinking? What is going on? See, that's the thing, like, he's the judge. He gets to decide whatever happened in his courtroom. So how are we ever gonna overturn that? Like, you will summon the witness as a request. How does that work? This is a mess, Josh. This is total mess. Your punishment for this contemptible behavior will be decided at a later date. As for you, prosecutor, what is my contemptible behavior? Excuse you? You will be remanded following this proceeding. Willingly, I trust, since you gave your word. So they're both gonna get punished, and this dude over here is just gonna walk by. Aha, I'm the judge. I decide whatever I want, even though I truly did it. There's nothing you can do about it. Sucks to be you. Bye. He's literally saying that this futile games of revenge is over, young master Asogi. Grr, he's mad. Well, he's right. Messed up. That will be all. I hereby declare this trial will be over. Court is holded. Who's gonna save the case now? Who can save the case? Oh, Sherlock Holmes. Really? This is no place for amateur detection, Mr. Sholmes. I mean, he was eavesdropping on all the entire thing, so what kind of authority does he have, though? May I remember that this proceeding close to the general public, you will leave the courtroom. Mr. Sholmes was instrumental in the apprehension of Seishiro Jigoku before he fled from Europe. Let's go should hear what he has to say. Lord Mayo Strongheart, it's imperative you refrain from bringing this trial to an end at this stage. Oh wow, that conceited posture. Is it really? Why would that be? You need only recall your own word from the opening of this trial to answer that question, if I may. We will stop at nothing to uncover the raw truth behind these disturbing findings. Surely it can be that the shock of being accused of being the Reaper yourself erased that from your memory, can it? Oh, he's mad. The whole truth, sir, has already been uncovered. It would seem that we have a great many important members of the judiciary present here today. Oh, so we're gonna use the crowd pressure to make it move forward. Okay. I put it to you, my dear fellow, should the trial end at the junction. So we are actually using the crowd as a jury members. So peer pressure. Here's the thing about the judicial system that some people might not know. I mean, even though that you might be, you know, obviously the law has to serve a purpose. Well, you know, setting up the barriers between what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. But that is also determined by, you know, the culture around it itself, whether it's doing good for the society in general or not doing good for the society in general. So even though a certain law is like saying that, you know, you should not be doing that because it's reprehensible by the laws and stuff. But once, you know, society evolve over time and thinking also evolve over time, that law might become obsolete. And it is the duty of the law itself to change according to that. Now, there are like certain things that, you know, a good example of that is like, you know, maybe gay marriage and stuff. It's prohibited by the law before, it's sentenced by the law, and then throughout the time, people changes their thinking and stuff, and nowadays it's acceptable. And the law itself is become obsolete and needs to change. So it has been accepting and yada yada. So things like that. What is happening right here is like pretty much what I've explained is that he is using the crowd itself, the society itself, against the law itself. So the people versus the law itself happen. Well, have you all been invited to attend, to nod along to the prevacation of your superiors? Order in court. It seems to me that we stand before a door that leads to a new era of legal practices, a door that is ajar. Let us emerge from the shadow of the Reaper's decade-long ascendancy. If for you and you alone, my dear fellow, have the power to push this door open now. The auditor in the gallery have no right to express an opinion on court proceedings. Silence. The judge has absolute authority here. Yes, if he calls the trial to an end, it must end, but will that really do? I sense dark things occurring behind the scene, dark things indeed. Is there a single person here present who can do that? What? Yeah, he's using that. The trial should not summon the witness. That's right, we need to clear this up before the young child is remanded in history. Yeah, there are no jury because he decided no jury is possible. If there was a jury, the jury get to decide, but he intentionally did that so that he can have total power. He even, send the judge, supposedly the primary judge, away so that he can preside over the court himself to have absolute control over everything. Very calculated person too. You assure those present that you will uncover the whole truth here. Vindicating yourself of this outlandish assertion, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. That's the very foundation of British law. A toast to my dependable colleague in the gallery. On with the trial, testify! Oh wow. Oh, he's gotta be fuming inside. You heard the voice of British justice, I take it. Testify! Testify! I think you'll find it very rather awkward. Never does it happen to me in real life though. Wow, I should say never. It did occur sometimes. But it's very rare. I mean, the judge nowadays, at least in the Canadian system, they always have to think about that too. Whether it causes harms to the society, even though it's conformed to the law, but the law itself is causing harm to the society, aka like not abiding to the society standard. It is actually the justice system's duty to amend such a law. So I think that's exactly what's happening here. The court will recess briefly. Oh, he will allow himself to recess. I have no intention of shrinking from this allegation. Well, peer pressure is going on. Arrange for the subpoena of the witness at once. As soon as the gentleman arrives at the courtroom, we shall reconvene. Is it even gonna a recess won't be necessary? Yeah, because you can arrange for another murder. You can totally arrange for another murder. Send him a subpoena. We're gonna have him come to the courtroom, and meanwhile, just having him, a horse crashes through his skull or something. But clever has, heard Glocksham is, he probably would be thinking, no, that won't be necessary. I already, have him here at the courtroom protected and whatnot. You're not gonna do anything, sir. No, don't even think about it. No. Mikotoba is a close friend of mine. He accompanied me today and is waiting in the antechamber as we speak. So he is also very calculated. I do believe, thank God he's like on the good side. Imagine, the Great Ace Attorney 3 where Herlock Shom is becoming a bad character, it's like we would be having a hard time dealing with it. I do really enjoy a little trip down memory lane. What? Someone is here in the courtroom? Yes, Mr. Shom, you calculated. You didn't know this would happen, did you? Of course you did. My dear fellow, no one is in a better position to answer the question than you, surely. I wasn't just asking for the fun of it, I must thank you for your assistance in this matter, Mr. Shong. However, you are of no further use here. Kindly leave the courtroom. But of course, in truth, I find myself rather busy now as a result of this development. Mr. Naruhodo, I trust you have Iris' little lucky charm with you. Wow. She sent her regards as a reminder. If you find yourself at that end, the ears are at your disposal. Just one thought though, if you please. Oh wow. The trial will continue without delay. Bailiff, show the witness to the stand! He's a reaper of the Bailey, huh? Where exactly is this trial going to take me? I wonder just how deep am I gonna be plunged? The blackness of the abyss. Yeah, that's exactly what it feels like, but it also feels like, you know, this is climaxing. The game is climaxing. The final boss is here. We're gonna have to beat the final boss. I'm ready. I'm ready to head into the heart of the maelstrom and confront whatever horror it tries to drown out. Take the stand? No, I don't like that. I don't like to take the stand. I mean, in my entire life, I've taken the stand many times. Due part to my duty I exercise, because as a witness and stuff, not as a defendant. But I mean, every single time, I don't panic on it, but I certainly don't find it like, you know, oh, this is exciting. Never in my entire life I felt, you know, any excitement whatsoever. Like, I've taken the stand, I have, you know, witnesses, like, as an observer down the galley due to part of what I exercise. But at the same time, I never find it exciting in those kind of cases. No. This is a very long case. This is gonna be like the last part of it, which is not what I'm gonna, you know, go on right now. It says to be continued here. Ooh, down here. So I'm gonna save my progress here, and then I'll leave it to the next stream on next Wednesday. I figured that, you know, this is gonna be a long case too, because this is like the final case of the second part of the game. So there's a lot of, you know, question that was asked before need to be resolved here. So obviously they're gonna make, you know, a much bigger thing in order to resolve all the questions that I have to tie the little loose end at the end. So probably there's another part 3 here, and then we should be done with it, or maybe part 4. I highly doubt it, because this is like a trial part 3. Yeah, we're gonna do that. So we're gonna move on, and we're gonna, you know, leave it for next Wednesday, and probably that will be the final stream on this, you know, Great Ace Attorney, you know, saga. You know, it's been a long run, definitely much longer than I thought it would be. Because usually when I play, you know, it's a couple of days, maybe 2 or 3 days when I'm done. But, you know, since I'm reading it, I'm a little bit slower. But, you know, I'm enjoying the, you know, slower drive through the entire game versus, you know, Final Fantasy Rebirth or even Splatoon, where I have less of that attention span on reading the chat or reading the games and whatnot. Because, you know, everything is so action packed, so I have to react constantly to every single thing. So it is, you know, a little bit of a different stream for me, and then another, you know, different experience for me as well. Like, definitely very different from what I do usually. A little bit of a change, why not, you know? But, you know, the journeys comes to the end on next Wednesday. So I'm gonna have to find another game next Wednesday. If you guys have any suggestions, you can send it to me. But definitely not playing what Joshi is playing. Joshi, you know, playing NBA 2024 now. Okay? But for real though, I'm gonna go, so I'm gonna take a shower. So I'll see you guys back on Friday. But Friday we will do a little bit of an early stream, as I said, because I will be working during this weekend. So in order, you know, to compensate for that, I will start my stream a little bit earlier. At least I will try to start a little bit earlier, and it's gonna be Splatoon anyway. So we're gonna do some summer run this Friday. All right. So yeah, Mario Maker's dead. Alright, for real though, take care until see you guys on next Friday. Bye for now.